looks brilliant, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my head, get you out of my head again.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and the eyes seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. Tell me the storm is coming, for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you anyway.
Just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of time, I cross the lines just to tell you. Don't leave the way, don't leave the same. Then I draw with a just playing parade. I feel like I'm fading.
Who killed the plan that I made? I mapped out every step, life took it away. Left me here, unable to find my way. Who killed the plan? Again, I set my sights so high, I dreamed of skies so bright, but life is a changing tide. Let's face it, embrace it. Nothing happens the way I planned it. Unexpected arises. I'll give it up, baby.
Hello, and welcome to Honor Ramble. This is your Final Battle post show. I'm exhausted. Joining us for the first time ever on Honor Ramble is the Melball Collins. We got the Collins squared going on here.
Yeah.
How are you? Hello, Millie. Oh my gosh, all of our friends are here. That was an exhausting show.
Yeah. Yes, it was. But you know what? It was a great kind of introduction because, I'm not usually a Ring of Honor viewer. So this was kind of like a nice kind of introduction to all the kind of wrestlers that we could see. I actually had to look up a couple and be like, I'm sorry, who is this? I'll be like, Few familiar faces, though. I had a great time with this show. Yeah,
For the House of
yes.
Torture promo. We'll talk about it.
Mm,
To be
yeah,
honest, there were a lot of people on this show who aren't even honoring honor.
I noticed that as well. It just it kind of seemed like
Uh,
a charcuterie board of companies. And I kind of love it though, because I
yeah,
like meat and cheese boards, but also it's just a great way to get kind of like a little taste of all the talents from here, there, and everywhere.
absolutely. You know what?
Mhm.
A charcuterie board of a pay-per-view wasn't half bad, right?
Yeah, I had a great time, but it was very exhausting.
Millie, I get it. I
Yeah.
with long shows like this, I either have to do something with my hands or I write 23 pages of notes. Which one do you think happened tonight?
I hope it's a notes. Hope it's a notes because mine in comparison would be pitiful.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Mine
Ring of Honor, I mean, I've shared my Ring of Honor story, but Ring of Honor was there for me when I was burnt out on WWE, you know? And
mm,
my neighbor would give me bootleg CDs and
oh my God.
we would watch them together like they were cinema. And they're on I thought that they were magic. I've gone back and watched the first couple pay-per-views and I'm like, this is on like someone's camcorder. Like this is so bad. And yet I ate all of that up. And tonight of all nights, we were live from the legendary Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. Have you ever been to the Hammerstein Ballroom?
No, I have never landed in New York. I have flown over it multiple times.
Are you
And
kidding
and
me?
no, I think I've landed in the airport once. I don't know if that counts, but like I've never had the privilege of like sightseeing or being around the city, despite being to pretty much every state except for Alaska and Hawaii.
Mike, the ref over here. If tonight was a charcuterie board, the finish was like those leftovers nobody wants after everything was picked through.
Oh,
Ouch.
oh,
It was
sweetie.
definitely something question mark, but
It was a thing and it happened.
yeah, it was a thing and it happened. But we're here for it. We got Astrid in the house. Hey, I love it. Oh,
We were
our
in
other
sync and everything.
I know. I love Oh my gosh. Sorry. I thought you said like in sync like the band.
Both. Absolutely.
Iconic. Well, before we jump into this very long show, be
Yeah.
sure like, share, subscribe, put that little bell notification on so you know when we're going live. You're already here, you're already watching, but if you are watching this on replay, go ahead and click that little bell because then you'll know when we go live. We go live here on YouTube, go live on Twitch. So you're going to want to come hang out and be a part of the live action. Well, are you ready to jump right in? You keep talking, you'll have time for Kimmy to jump in after. She's in the media scrum. She's in the media scrum doing all media things. We are so proud of Kimmy. Kimmy posted a post that was like, I've been to the Hammerstein Ballroom for other Ring of Honor things, but this is the first time I've done media here. So it is so fantastic. Incredible. So proud of her. So
Yes, kid girl. That's awesome.
absolutely. If I'm drinking a lot of water, it is because I am a dehydrated little fish right now. So apologies if that is distracting to you. I don't think anyone's ever told me, but I'm just hyper aware of it. But all right. let's jive through. Let's kind of go through quickly our 0 hour. Some people. So I was watching this on YouTube for the reason that is when I don't watch apps on my TV, they offload, right? So
Mhm.
when I put it on the big TV, I clicked it and it was like needed to update, like needed to do all these things. And I was like, oh my God.
Wrong
Ugh.
timing.
So it was
Like,
like
why?
I had to update my Amazon Fire Stick, and then I had to update the app, and then it was like everything was
Saga.
coming. So I was watching it on my phone on YouTube for the first part of the 0 hour. So
Okay.
forgive me if my notes are not as thorough. All right. Yes, we are going to talk about that Athena match because wow, they showed out.
Mhm.
Our first match that we're going to talk about for in the 0 hour is the Dark Order versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Since you are our guest for tonight and going to be mainstay on our honor ramble, tell me your thoughts on this opening match.
So I actually got the privilege of watching the Grizzled Young Vets recently when they were New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions before they recently lost to Why am I West Coast Wrecking Crew? I was like, why am I forgetting? One of them literally just messaged me this morning. My goodness. Okay. So, yeah, I've seen the Grizzled Young Vets before. I knew what they were capable of. I'd seen the Dark Order on one of the AEW shows that they had before the show.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. I don't know how many shows AEW has at this point.
A
So, like,
lot.
I was familiar. Yes, so many. Muchly. Arguably, this one was kind of sort of like a I'm trying to think of a nice way to say affiliated. Well, that's probably the word. Affiliated
Yeah.
with AEW. Um,
Adjacent. Yeah.
yeah, I love Silva.
Mhm.
Silver.
Silver. Yeah.
I just yeah, but every time I think of him, all I can think is "Hi ho, Silva!" Lone Ranger. And then he looks like such a happy little dwarf. Like it's so adorable. I love his character. It's so
Mhm.
fun. But then in tandem with the Grizzled Young Vets, these guys put a pretty good opening match. It took me a while. I still don't. It took me a while to figure out. I love the Grizzled Young Vets for writing their freaking names on their butts so that I know which one is which. It's really helpful because I can't keep saying the bearded one and the bald one
Yeah.
because it's just
Why
it's
not?
uh,
That's what makes
because
a
that
good
now
tag
refers
team.
It is, but now it's what refers to, like, 3 different tag teams that I also don't know the name of. So I just call them the bearded one and the bald one because
Yeah.
it's the perfect
Hey,
combination.
hey, chat. Name all of the tag teams that you can think of that has a bearded one and a bald one.
Yeah,
Let's see how long that
please.
goes.
Yes. There was a butterfly hook into a power bomb that, Reynolds did. Gotta show him some love in this one because, like,
Mhm.
I kind of found him to like on aesthetics wise to just be the other guy in the match. But yeah, very impressive wrestler. There was a spear brainbuster combo, I think is what they said on commentary by the Dark Order with Silva holding the suplex position
Mhm.
for Reynolds to get the spear off. Um, Grizzled Young Vets, I believe. I didn't write down the finish. They were the ones who picked up the win on this. Were they not?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed the work of these guys. I felt that their styles just kind of mixed well enough that everybody kind of got to showcase all of their stuff. And I felt the length of it was an appropriate kind of thing. I felt if it was any shorter, we would have missed out on some cool stuff. And if it was any longer, it might have started to get a little repetitive.
Yeah. So this match actually ended up being 11 minutes and 15 seconds is what I have.
Perfect.
Which for an opening match for me is kind of long. I don't know about you, but that can be kind of long for an opening match. On a 0 hour, you're
Sure.
trying to pack as many things in. You're trying to get in the promos.
Yeah.
Hey, go on Honor Club, go sub here, go do this. So it can be a little bit muddy
Mhm.
quickly. However, I think that the Grizzled Young Vets, they're professionals. They know how to segment off different parts of different parts of the match. We have Millie coming in clutch here with our bald and beard and Grizzled Young Veterans
See?
War Raiders DIY. Oh my
FTR is where it
gosh.
originated for me.
FTR bald and FTR hair or whatever, beard.
Yeah, Beardo. Beardo and Baldy is what I used to call them because I didn't know
love
what
it.
their names were.
Oh
When
my
they came
gosh.
out of WWE, that's always the problem. They changed their name. So I can't figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
conditioned to calling them brainwashed by the dementia era into calling them a certain thing.
The dementia era. I love it every time you say it. Yeah, James Drake and Zach Gibson, love that their names were on their butts because it did help with this because, again, names changing, things going. I love that this match started with chain wrestling because it made me go, oh my God, that's how we're starting 0 hours with chain wrestling.
Yeah.
But it is Ring of Honor and we gotta do it for the fans. Come on. But Zach Gibson gets the advantage quickly on. I think that Alex Reynolds and John Silver, both great show out for being losers because they are constantly losing. Don't know why they are constantly losing and what we're doing with them, but they don't go down without a fight. It isn't an easy win. Obviously, 11 minutes. There is a lot to pack in here. As you mentioned, that spear and brainbuster combo, if you want to watch a sequence that'll blow your freaking mind, it was like a whip countered by a double stomp, countered by the ropes being used to all of a sudden a spear and a brainbuster combo into a double stomp, into a cover for 2, into rolling him up for 2, into a standing doomsday device, which like that sequence, we're 17 minutes out in. I would beat off to. You know what I mean? Like that is good shit. You know, it's one of those things that is exactly the kind of wrestling that gets my tits hard.
Yes.
So I see, I'm Collins After Hours. Haven't even had anything to drink yet, and here I am talking about
OLE
hard,
after dark.
yeah, hard nips and coming to completion here. But obviously, Evil Uno is there with the papers. We all remember the papers, pandemic era on BTE with Mr. Brody Lee having the papers, and having the papers there was really symbolic to a lot of us, especially since this last week was Brody Lee's birthday. And it does come up on the anniversary of his passing, which is a lot of emotions. So I really appreciate them putting that in there without making us all cry. It was a lighthearted, fun little part. And at the end of the sequence, at the end of everything, John Silver tries to do a cannonball. It's blocked. And honestly, he lands weird on his leg, which I went, ooh, did that hurt? But there we go. Grit your teeth. Cover, and the Grizzled Young Veterans take the win. I would give this like a 3 out of 5. Great opening match. It just makes me want more, you know?
I agree. This was a match that I was kind of like, oh, this is good. If this is the setup for the main show.
Yeah, very good setup. Yes. Once we get to Lee Moriarty's match, that is where most of my notes come from because I am a pure wrestling champion sicko here, right? I'm also a Nigel McGuinness sicko. So I can't wait to chat about that. So stay tuned. But we go right into well, we run down the card, blah blah blah, everything's coming to fruition. But we start with this Harley Cameron versus Hanako. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with Hanako?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I
Tell
watched
me everything.
Hanako. I was watching her before she was even a part of Empress Nexus Venus when she was still, I believe they call them New Bloods over
Oh,
in Stardom, right when she had started her career.
okay.
I have been solidly behind her since seeing her. She
Okay.
has wrestled this good since the beginning, and anything that she's needed to improve upon, she has. When we first started seeing her, the one thing she was not good at was defending against submissions or any kind of technical wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
She has gotten so good with her work with Mina Shirakawa, with her work with Micah. They are very, very good at that chain wrestling and that technicality, so she has learned so much from them. And then she's just had a hugely dominant run with Micah through the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, going pretty much to the, I believe it was the semifinals, where they lost out to, I believe it was Wingor.
Oh.
Yeah. So like they did very, very well in this tournament. Hanako is a big personal favorite of mine. I am so excited to see her taking the same route as Mina, going back and forth between Japan and North America, starting to get people interested in this style. And I'm very curious to see hear your notes about it because it was Hanako's not used to wrestling with someone like Harley in that she's not used to wrestling with someone who's very comedy based. So, so I was actually curious about how this would go. Hi, Bobby. Um, yeah, I felt that this match went amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know a couple things about Hanako. So this is her second year of professional
Mhm.
wrestling. She is a member of Mina Shirakawa's group in Stardom.
Mhm.
And when I read that, I said immediately sold. That's all I need to know about her. She's
Yes.
tall AF. She's a
Yes.
tall woman. And I'm
Yes.
looking at her and I'm like, I just want to know everything about her. Tell me everything about you. And as soon as the code of honor was shook, we were right into the gates. The crowd chanting, "Let's go, Harley," was a really nice touch. But
Mhm.
Hanako really wanted to test the strength. But Harley Cameron does not play by the rules and did a quick jab to those ribs.
Mm.
And honestly, I the moment that happened, I go, "Oh, don't piss her off." And
Mm.
that's kind of what happened is that she went right for her leg, and Hanako tried everything to get her off because hello, why would you want to be grounded? Hello. Uh
Mhm.
their back and forth was really good. I can't wait till Harley Cameron is like a little bit more elevated in the wrestling ring, but it really was fantastic. I like that they started small and went big rather than being big the entire time.
Mhm.
Um, there were a couple times when Hanako went for the pin, and I went, "Oh, that's it." I mean, oh, that's only a 2 count. Oh, that's it. Okay, you're only going for the 2 count. 7 minutes and 40 seconds is what I counted this,
Mhm.
and I do have to say the shenanigans of Harley Cameron, I think really test Co, but I feel like she should know that by Mina already.
Mhm. Yeah, Mina has her own kind of shenanigans that she does
Mhm,
that kind of work into that. I feel like Hanako, the working well with Mina, I feel like a lot of her learning has come from Micah.
mhm,
And what's great about Micah is despite being just as strong, just as tall, and just as dominant as Hanako
yeah,
herself, Micah also has the capability to wrestle in that shenanigan style
Yeah.
that Harley also kind of wrestles in. So maybe there was some kind of preparation there also that allowed them to kind of work really, really well together. Um, what do I? Oh, I noticed that Hanako had a shorter hair last I had seen her. She just had a lot more blue in it now, and I really liked it. I just wanted to
Yeah.
note
I
that.
that was a great touch. Absolutely.
Mhm, mhm. Um, yeah, the Harley tried to, like, do her shenanigans, trying to pick up Hanako, kinda doing the goofy thing, doing that nice slow start. I felt it was great. It was a great lead in, it was a great build. I felt that the flow of this match was actually overall very,
Mhm.
very, very well done. Um the shoulder blocks from
Mhm.
Hanako, though, I mean, as simple and effective as those are, right?
Mhm.
So good, so good. She has that little touch of flair that she does where she just goes all the way over with it to just make it look that little bit much stronger. I
Mhm.
really like that. Big suplex by Hanako. I mean, she's strong as hell. Come on.
Yeah.
So, so good. Um, there was one point where Hanako popped up Harley for like a forearm little bit and then followed it up with a big boot and a big boot over the ropes to the outside. Really, really shows off her strength there. She's really starting to get more confident about singles matches and stringing together kind of like matches like that. She's always had that talent, but in Stardom, she tends to be in like tag matches or multi
Mm.
person matches, whereas like this is giving her an opportunity to show off she can hang solo as well.
Yeah.
I thought Harley worked really smart on the outside, pulling Hanako into the stairs. Take the big girl off her feet. Super, super smart.
Mhm.
Um, there was what point where she put Harley in the tree of woe, and I was like, that looks a little odd. And I
Yeah.
feel like it was just because her foot was too far back. But
Mm.
then, given the transition she did, I understand why it was there. As It just kind of looked a little funky when it was happening, because she went from the Tree of Woe, reversing the run-in by Hanako, which Hanako usually puts someone in the Tree of Woe and then just does a jumping run-in splash there to kinda injure the knees as well as the kinda core and everything there.
Yeah.
So, it was smart, looked like Harley had scouted her at that point if you know Hanako's repertoire, so that looked really good on her part, and then, being able to, being able to kick Hanako in the running was cool. There was a backstabber, followed by a shining wizard that Harley did. I thought looked really, really neat. I was like,
Mm.
"Yay, she's getting so good." I remember the first time I saw her, it was like, I wanna say like 7 or 8 months ago, maybe?
Okay.
And I was
On
like,
Stardom?
"Oh" sorry, no, Harley
Oh, Harley. Okay.
on AEW. I hadn't really been paying attention to AEW until around that time, admittedly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started noticing her, I'm like, "Ooh, she's really pretty, she just needs some improvement," but man, she has been improving. It's been coming in swells for her, and I really love the character work that she does because she plays this, like, obnoxious character so, so well that
Mhm.
I just can't help but be endlessly entertained by her now, when
I mean,
before I was not.
it's definitely clear that we're gearing up for something big for Wrestle
Mhm,
Dynasty, but as well as
mhm,
something in 2025 for Harley Cameron.
mhm,
It was a great matchup. I
mhm,
think that more is to come, and that's all
mhm.
we can ask for, right?
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely,
right.
yeah.
Well, we go into the match that Kimmy and I went to blows for. Uh,
Ooh.
the infantry versus the undisputed kingdom. I have many thoughts because the undisputed kingdom, the kingdom as they are formally known, are a Ring of Honor original, tried and true, have been a
Mhm,
mainstay in the
mhm,
resurgence of Ring of Honor when they were during the pandemic era. that awkward time as a little
Yeah.
bit before, uh,
Mhm.
a little bit lost. But I said that the Undisputed Kingdom had to win at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Had to. What did you think of this match?
Had a lot of fun with this match.
Wasn't
Had a
it so
lot of
much
fun with
fun?
this one. This whole pre-show, I was like, oh my God, this is
Mhm.
what you guys are setting up for on your main show? Oh my God. Singing the Jesus. Um, I'm not gonna lie though, I didn't know who the infantry guys were. Again, this is my first time kind of watching the product. So these two particularly were not people I was familiar with, but I
Sure.
knew who Taven and Bennett were because I
Mhm.
know them as Ring of Honor guys. I know Taven was up here actually. I think it was for an RCW show with the Ring of Honor championship while he was champion.
Mhm.
So, and I know Bennett also from the King because they had Vincent on there before, right?
Yes.
And Vincent didn't wear shoes.
Weird.
It gives me anxiety to see no shoes, except for Matt Riddle, break his toes. But Bennett, and also I love Trisha Dora. I have seen Trisha Dora quite a bit. I've seen some of her indie stuff.
Mhm.
She was on New Japan Strong once. Yeah, and I know I think it was Shane Taylor, is his name. I know
Yes,
him.
STP. Yep.
Yeah, I know him from his time back when he was the TV champion, fighting with Jeff Cobb. Like I remember that time.
Mhm.
So this was an interesting introduction to me, and honestly, the infantry sold themselves to me as just seeing them for the first time, having no idea who they were, what they were capable of. I was like, yeah, damn, this is a great team. They work so well together. I
Mhm.
would love to hear your notes before we give my pitiful little
So the
my bullet.
infantry used to be faces, right? And then all of a sudden they
Oh,
are now heels. They've aligned themselves with STP. So they went from
oh,
being, because they're former US military, including Trisha Dora, I want all the good things to happen to Trisha Dora.
mm-hmm.
But
Same.
you go from being white meat baby faces to a murky gray land. Hey, we have been discounted time after time after time. What's going on here? Give us a chance. They they beat the Young Bucks on AEW television during a tournament, right? It was the Young Bucks. Clear, yeah, I think it was the Young Bucks during a tournament. So
Ooh,
they went on to the next round of the tournament. They
wowzers.
lost, but it was either that or FTR. Now my brain is confused,
I
which
mean,
is
either
fine.
way, it's still an impressive win.
Right? They. It was definitely an established team that I was like, okay, wow. So absolutely, Trish is incredible. Absolutely, but uh so Carly Bravo and Sean Dean ambush Matt Taven and Mike Bennett before the bell rings. That is the Undisputed Kingdom's role. So now we have flipped, so to speak.
Oh.
I said Matt Taven has a death wish because he went flying head first and down over the top rope like an idiot with 9 extra lives. This man is insane. It looked brutal, but Mike Bennett took control really quickly. Uh, uh, we have the bell ring, and you know that's where it just was like throwing a Molotov cocktail inside the ring. There were
Yeah.
drop kicks. There was a stunner on the apron, which looked so good by Sean Dean. They were quick, hot tags for the infantry. The crowd is definitely behind the infantry, even though they are turning heel. Carly Bravo
Gotcha.
hit something that looked like a Sister Abigail. I don't know what it was called. All I was doing was screaming because it looked so good.
I
But
love this.
all of the shenanigans happened, and
Mhm.
Mike Bennett is distracting the ref. Matt Taven tags in, then the referee's not seeing the tag. And then Sean Dean and Carly Bravo are like, you're going to break the rules. We're going to break the rules. We invented breaking the rules. Trying to double team a suplex, and Matt Taven landed on his feet and then got his tag in. It was one of those things of, you think you invented the the being bad guy gimmick? We invented it. Very great back and forth between them. I think that Matt Taven is having a renaissance, so to speak, of his career. He really truly shined during this match. I really like Mike Bennett's pile driver, but it wasn't keeping the infantry down. And then Shane Taylor has to distract the ref so that Trish Adora can knock Matt Taven off the top rope, because STP only knows how to win by shenanigans. However, Mike Bennett kicking out at like 2.999999999, I about fainted from how loud I was screaming at this point, which I was like, it's only like 4:30 in the afternoon here because it started at 4 here. So I'm like, I can't be this worked up over this match already. This is insane. But Matt Taven, rock star supernova, to get the win in 9 minutes and 20 seconds. How did those 9 minutes go by? I don't know. I was having fun the entire time. Carly Bravo and Sean Dean looked spectacular. And Shane Taylor and Trish Adora looked spectacular. I'm excited to kind of see if this feud continues. It has to, right? It has to. But
It kind of felt like it.
absolutely. Absolutely. There's unfinished business here. And although it's another match with shenanigans, it definitely was telling a story right before our eyes. But Matt Taven impressed me the entire time, especially since he started the entire bout almost unaliving himself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like Mayu Iwatani in Stardom. She just has a blatant disregard for her own personal health and
Yeah.
safety. I
What is that
watched that
about, man?
woman, I don't know, but I watched her roll down 3 flights of stairs on a show once, just
Mm-hmm.
right tumble all the way down. I'm like, girl, no wonder you had a freaking bruise the size of a freaking volleyball on your thigh the next day.
Insane.
People are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I the jump start was weird because I was under the impression that there's got to be like an honor start to most of these things
Mm-hmm.
with the handshake and everything. So I was like, oh, dishonor, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your fam, dishonor on everything. So yeah, here's the thing. I really do like that the manager and valet culture is coming back in professional wrestling. Like I know it's been happening with AEW and WWE
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit. I know with Ring of Honor being pretty associated with AEW, it's kind of going in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing it, and I love seeing how the shenanigans end up being functional for the teams without being obnoxious. And that's what I liked about the infantry's shenanigans is that they didn't just do things to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
They did things that functionally made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike House of Torture, which just it just exists to be obnoxious. Nothing they do is fun to watch anymore because it's just the same thing. Whereas this, it created a fun little angle in here, but then elevated Taven and Bennett even higher when they were able to pick up the win
Mm.
throughout all the shenanigans and the adversary. Because with House of Torture, you could only get choked by Garrett and dick to dick contact so much before it just becomes overwhelming and you can't really do anything. Yeah, I liked the kind of constant tagging happening between the infantry guys. I felt that they were working very, very smart against the obviously more experienced together Taven and Bennett. Um, again, I like the shenanigan work by Taylor and Adora. I felt that it works to the healing
Hmm.
part of them. It's so funny and it speaks so much to how sadistic we are that we just don't care and we cheer for them anyway. Because by
Yeah.
that by that point they'd won me over too. So I was like, oh damn, both these guys.
Mm.
Um
Both these
the
guys. Both these guys. Both these
yeah.
guys.
The machine gun chops by Bennett were only okay though. I'm not gonna lie, I'm used to seeing chops from like Satoshi Kojima or like yeah, like the guys that when they do it, hey, how's it going, partner?
I'm just waving at everyone now. So.
He's pretty great. He's pretty great.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm used to seeing chops from like Kojima Satoshi, so Satoshi Kojima. So like
Sure.
I was like, those could have been you could put a little more gusto, put a little bit more bread behind that, Mr. Bennett.
Hmm.
Um, there was a spine buster though by Bennett that was fantastic. I love me a spine buster. I don't know why. I just love how just dominant and
Hmm.
effective they look for how just simplistic of a move it is. Because realistically, if I had enough momentum, a girl could try. Most people are bigger than her, so it might not work too well, but I could still try. There was also he did the spine buster and then he did a slam. I can't remember which order because unlike grizzled young vets, these two did not have their names on their butts. So I could not tell which. I
Yeah.
apologize. I will eventually learn. But he slammed the other guy on top of him. I liked that. There was also a springboard kick. I believe the commentary called it "Kick of the King" by Taven.
Hmm.
That I really, really liked. This was the point where it was obvious the kingdom was picking up. They were going to pick up this win for me. Um, Bennett holding the guy, yeah, just the tip is what commentary called it. Do we know what that one is? Holding the
Just
guy
the tip.
with the knee, holding him, feeding him the knee. And then the pile driver by Bennett for 2. That was phenomenal. Um, yeah, I love seeing Taven and Bennett. I knew these two kind of going in there. I knew what they'd done. I'd seen them in their Mexico kind of trip there as well. Um, I had good expectations for this match, and it didn't let me down. I
Hmm.
liked it. Again, this perpetuated this, and I'm sitting here like this is a pre-show. What is
Yeah.
the what is the main show gonna be like? My God.
Hmm. I know we're not even there yet.
Right.
We still have one more 0 hour match. We have the Gates of Agony versus Lee J, which is Lee Johnson and EJ Naduka. I'm so excited to see EJ Naduka in Ring of Honor. I think that he has star potential. And in the House of Boys stable. Now, Boys stable, if you watch OSW, it is the stable that you hold in your heart that they're not going to be world champions, but every time that they come on, win or lose, you are cheering for them. And that has
Mm.
always been Lee Johnson for me because during the pandemic, he was the wrestler who got the loss for people for Dark, Elevation, Dynamite,
Mm.
rinse and
All the
repeat.
AEW stuff.
Yes. But I saw the potential in Lee Johnson, and this year we saw him vying for that television title. We saw him vying for the Pure Championship. We saw him in any iteration of something that didn't seem to click, but he's always been, I'm just cheering for Lee Johnson, getting better and better and better. Do you know who he's married to?
No?
Julia Hart.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Oh,
The two of them
interesting.
together are soups cute, but
Yeah.
I think that this tag team works for Lee Johnson. It plays Lee Johnson's strengths of being agile and EJ Naduka being the muscle, so to speak, being the presence. I had a lot of feelings going into this match because the Gates of Agony had been constantly propped up as they're undefeated. They have the biggest winning streak. You know, this is their winning streak that they've had for the last couple months. But it's easy when you've been just doing enhancement talents week after week. However,
I was going to say, I'm super impressed to hear all of that until you said that.
right, but you hear that and you're like, well, we have this new tag team that looks really cool. And we really, really want them to like get over. Wouldn't this be a great stepping stone? And we didn't get that. There was something disconnecting, and I don't want to discount this because we're going right into our main show after this. It was great wrestling, but I thought that there was some sort of potential, some sort of extra that could have happened here that I just didn't see. Absolutely freaking proud of EJ. Him also speaking up about some of the backstage stuff that was going on in NXT when things were a little bit darker, the dementia era, as you had mentioned. Very proud of him for that.
Well,
But
that's good.
I think that Bishop Khan and EJ Naduka are basically the same character, the same wrestler, but just in different packages. Them going toe to toe, it itched something in the back of my brain. Them going back and forth with Lee Johnson also itched something part of my brain. But the moment that Toa Leona came in, I said, we need him more on our screens. Why? Because that standing splash. How does a man of his size do that? And the both of them together isolating Lee Johnson away from EJ, like brilliant tag team work. There was a moment where Lee Johnson tried to escape. Bishop Khan brought him back, and it was like they were playing with their food. And I said, "Oh no. Oh no. We've been propping this new tag team up, and it's like you gave them the main event of the 0 hour spot, and I'm going, oh no, this is gonna go bad." But what saved this match for me was the moment that EJ Naduka got that tag. It was like barrels out of a gun. I don't like using gun metaphor, but it just felt like that is where the match started for me. He is 6'8", and that guy is doing moonsaults. What?
Wow.
He's insane doing things. Yes, picking up 2 counts. It's so close, but it was just so crazy. He did a great job of getting both members of Gates of Agony on the floor. There was a huge moonsault again to get Toa Leona on the floor, not getting up. However, when Lee Johnson tried to emulate it, Bishop Khan caught him. put him right into a power bomb on the ring steps, which felt nasty.
I felt that in my soul.
It was so gross. But yeah, it was like the moment that EJ tagged in, I was like, okay, this match is actually going. It was 10 minutes long, and it felt like it started at minute 5 for me. It was a fine match. Gates of Agony winning, I don't think was the right call because we were trying to build a brand new tag team. And what a way to suck the momentum out by losing to a team that you're just like, well, they keep winning, so who else? Like, you're just feeding them food now. So it kind of felt a little, you know,
Felt like lions at a zoo that didn't have to work for their prize.
yeah. And then the post match part where the Gates of Agony just,
Yeah.
I didn't understand why we had to do that. But tell me your thoughts while I drink some water.
So I was actually introduced to Gates of Agony when they came over for World Tag League. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. Until House of Torture tried to recruit them. And I was like, oh no, we cannot have the Gates of Agony surrounding the House of Torture. We cannot. No, they did not join them, thankfully. But they put on a very impressive show over there. And from what I remember of seeing them then to seeing them now, Toad Leona has completely changed the character. He still wears the same similar in-ring gear, but like his entrance gear is completely changed from what I saw. And Bro's tightened up. He's lost some weight. He's looking great. I didn't actually take too many notes on this. I just kind of watched it because I was a little confused about what was going on. Because if commentary wasn't like kind of filling in the blanks for me,
Right.
I wouldn't know what was that there was history or something going on. There didn't seem to be any work happening via Gates of Agony to kind of show that they've been this dominant tag team that has been continuously fed people. Like I would have liked them to have played to the crowd a little bit more, like we had seen on the main show with people. Um, so like it could have helped fill in some blanks there. Maybe it's just that, like, because I don't actually know how long they have been wrestling. Maybe it's just an experience thing that
Yeah.
they need to kind of figure out. But maybe that's something that should be figured out before they put them on television. Kind of deal there, especially if we're going to push them hard, because this was a hard push match for them. Like this really did put over Johnson and Naduka.
EJ Naduka, yeah.
Naduka. I'm not gonna lie. I looked up all of the like all of the matches, because I like to have the matches in my notes ready, and then I can just write my notes. I looked up his name, and I was like, did someone make a spelling error? This doesn't look like a name. It looks like someone just went what on a
Oh
freaking keyboard, and
no.
I was like, what is this? Then the announcer started going.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, okay.
It's
It
Naduka, yeah.
Now I hear it. Okay, now it makes sense. But yeah, I felt that this was actually a very good showing for Johnson and Naduka. Especially knowing that they're being pushed. Absolutely keep pushing them, but like stop Kenta-ing them. That's what I
Yeah.
term for things that are
Kenta.
supposed to be giving to people that they've rightfully earned.
Yeah. I agree.
No more Kentas.
No more Kentas. Well, we are an hour into our post show. Remember to like, share, subscribe if you got into this spot. We have so many more matches to cover. Our
Yes.
opening match. Well, first off, that opening promo to celebrate the past, present, and future got me crying already. Just
Aw.
crying. I needed it. But our opening match on the main card, which I immediately screamed, no! Former Ring of Honor champion, Atlantis Jr. versus Mansoor. This match was fun. This was a fun match. I'm just so sour on Atlantis Jr. because they put the TV championship on him and then they said, no more. They said, we don't need to book you. We don't need you to show up for work.
Didn't they do the same thing with the Bang Bang Booty Gang, though, in their trios title?
I know. It's like, what are we going to do? Nobody's going to show up. You're going to show up on the other shows, which why put it on them in the first place? What are we doing?
Yeah. Who's booking this shit?
I'm not booking it. But this match was just so much fun. I knew it was going to be fun. Weird that Mansoor is being pushed as a singles, but I understand the reason for it as we continue. Mansoor offers up his tip instead of a handshake because we touch tips here. Oh, you want to wait. Oh my God. That took way too long for me to figure out. We're touching tips. Ah! Okay, I loved that so much. But yes, tips were touched. Mansoor getting the upper hand as we jump right into the match. Mansoor is a great wrestler with silly things intertwined. The poses. I just want to say, strike a pose. I do have to say, by the way, you when you were posing, you look very Cher in the best way ever because your hair and the way that you were just looking off, I'm like, you're Cher, basically. I love it.
Oh, thank you, babe.
Oh my gosh. Pose for Ever Chance. We're going. If you want to watch something funny, go watch that. It was a venue like this is meant for crowd work, right? It's meant for the crowd to participate because what else are we going to be doing
layers here? Hell yeah.
Absolutely. And the wrestling was secondary to what was going on during this match. Atlantis Jr. is a very good wrestler, but I think Mansoor did give him a run for his money. I mean, I think that he can wrestle his booty off. But there were some ref distractions, faces going onto aprons, head scissors. Oh my. And then we get similar sequences. Mansoor getting caught in a crossbody attempt. Multiple backbreakers going on, which you felt in your bones, laughing till we're crying. And then all of a sudden the match seemed to reset. And I was like, wait, what just happened?
It's like, what?
And it was like, okay,
where do we go from here?
Where do we go? But they got back on track. There was a small package by Mansoor, only for a 2 count, which set up going for a springboard. But Atlantis Jr. countered it with a cutter, which was so great. This caused Mason Madden to get on the apron again. Atlantis Jr. fights him off. And all of a sudden, from underneath the ring, we have someone in a Danhausen mask. Pulls off to be Danhausen. Just to punch Mason Madden right in the D-Yock. Holy shit, chants from the fans. This is wrestling. Atlantis Jr. had a beautiful sunset flip, which Mansoor, I think, overacted out of the ring and onto Mason Madden, which was fantastic. Atlantis did a frog splash, frog splash, and that's it. 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Atlantis Jr. Uh,
Mhm.
I saw some people saying match was boring, to this match didn't make sense, to this is the funniest shit ever. I need to know what you thought. Yes, that pop that Danhausen got was spectacular.
So good. It was so good. The last time I'd seen him actually was on, oh, yeah, I kind of figured he would say something about that. We have a faction here that does that. That's their thing. It's actually on my story today. If you check out my story on Instagram,
Mm.
I'm somewhere in the horde. I'm 5'3" though, so like when I'm in the middle of it, I disappear. I had a lot of fun with this match. I have watched Atlantis Jr. grow up over the years. When I started watching New Japan about 6 years ago now,
Mm.
I one of the first shows that I saw them cross over with was the CMLL Fantastica Mania tour, where Atlantis Jr. came over with his father, and oh my God, it was like watching a wee little baby with his
What?
daddy. It was adorable. He was dressed just like him. It was so awesome to see him grow up in this business, from following his father around and his father being the big pop to him now being a champion, him now traveling to other countries by himself because he's the one getting booked and not just being coming along with his dad. It warms my heart to see. But this was like a goofy haha. This was a comedy match for
Mhm.
sure, with some really great wrestling within it. And I love that it happened because I feel like I can't speak Spanish. So there's a language barrier that Atlantis Jr. was able to break to kind of communicate in this match. I was I had so much fun with this match, but
Mhm.
I was grossed out with the stuff at the end with the teeth. Don't you put it in your mouth, you guys. Don't you put it in your mouth.
So I so I'm missing some teeth back here, right?
Okay.
I had 6 wisdom teeth,
Ooh.
and a few years back I had an ear infection and I had a cracked filling, but my ear infection drained into my wisdom teeth and that
No.
my teeth back there. I was eating. Yes, I had 6 wisdom teeth. Yes.
That means you're super smart.
If I can find my x-rays, I'll show you, because it just looks it like you had like one like this with like one underneath it. The top one had like 2 like sprouting like that. It was just a
Oh.
mess. And because my parents were like, we'll just see if we need to get them removed. But one of them was wrapped around my nerve, which is what was causing me to have pain.
Mm.
So I had that ear infection. It hurt all of my nerves. I just thought I had a bad feeling. I was eating a piece of bread and I just felt pressure, and then all of a sudden felt fragments of teeth in my mouth.
Oh.
So I went to the
Oh
oral
dear.
surgeon because I was like, I'm not even gonna like wait for like my regular dentist. We got to go right now. And he goes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he was like, "Oh, yeah, this looks like a bad filling, like a filling that, went bad." Which makes sense. Happens. And I was like, "Well, can you save the tooth?" He goes, "No, cuz I have to take out these 2 wisdom teeth back here because they're the ones pushing that nerve forward and wrapped around it."
Oh
And
no.
I couldn't be knocked out for it.
Oh no. Oh, that's worse. I sent
So,
little submarines for mine.
so when they took out all my teeth, all 7 of them, well, I mean 6.5 because it was only like a half a tooth. I asked if I could keep them. He said yes. So I put them in a tooth-shaped box.
Yes.
And Danhausen came to a local promotion here, and I needed to give him my teeth, so I gave him a few of my teeth.
This is
I
tremendous.
saved some of the other ones. I had to throw out the half a tooth that was here because it was just once you break a tooth and you try to save it and it was infected, it got
It looks
yeah,
a little,
it
yeah,
looked
I
great.
get you.
Weird. But the other ones, they're in a they're in a vial, which is pretty cool. But I gave him some of my teeth.
Did he
So
sign the vial?
no, that would have been really
You should have.
cool.
You should do that next time. Next time.
Okay,
He'll come
next
through
time.
again. Yes.
It's kind of creepy that I'm saving all my teeth every time that they, get knocked out or something for a wrestler. Like, is that
Hey, I mean,
delusional of me? I don't know.
some wrestlers have some very odd, like I'm involved in the indies around here, and some of the guys will be like, "Hey, do you know if you could find this, or this somewhere?" I'm like, "Dude, just go to a hardware store." That's just what it sounds like at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I once had a tooth grow. Oh my God.
Oh,
Jeez.
Ausha.
But yeah, after I got my wisdom teeth taken out, I suddenly getting spaces in between because my mouth is now settled out a little bit wider.
Yeah, yeah.
So as
I'm
a
dealing
form,
with that now too. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, I have a space in between there that I didn't used to have,
Yeah.
you know. But
I had a premolar removed so that when I got my braces, my teeth could actually, because I used to have some pretty, I was a, I was like that Simpsons character who could open a
mhm.
can. I did not
Oh
have
my
pretty teeth.
gosh.
We paid a lot for these things.
You know what? There are a lot of people that get their teeth fixed. I didn't know that my husband had, because that was one thing with my husband when I met my husband. I was like, your teeth are so straight. And I'm over here like on Navy insurance. And it's like, I have gaps in between my teeth now. And
Oh,
his are just so perfect. And he's like, yeah, I have 2 permanent retainers in there after having years of braces. And I'm
yeah,
like,
I have one right there. Yeah.
love it. Love it. But yeah, tell us about this post-match coitus. After we are just talking about teeth. I know. Well, post match, Mason Madden does get in the ring and he headbutts Atlantis Jr., rightfully so. Danhausen comes in and curses. Suplex by
Left his little claw
Danhausen
hands.
because he's Spooky
Blah,
Boy.
blah, blah.
Oh my gosh. But yes, he had teeth and he shoved them in the mouth of Mason and knees him in the head. So all the 2 teeth went.
He
Loved
was a
it.
dragon.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Well,
He was a dragon. Little tooth dragon. Doesn't
we
breathe
go.
fire. He's a tooth dragon. He breathes teeth.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, before next match, we have Lexi Nair backstage with Chris Jericho.
How cringe was that promo?
Yeah, Jericho is Mr. New York. He was listing all the things that he had done. I don't know if you saw some of the promos. It's some of my favorite freaking things that he has been doing. He's saying that he is from New York. Obviously, it's a rib at Matt Cardona.
Mhm.
But he was talking about different New York things. So if you don't know about Mayor de Blasio or Juan Soto or the Pisons, the Mets, like you wouldn't know any of these terms. It was just everything cringe about New York. And it, yeah, okay. Thanks, Pisons. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, guys. That's,
Oh,
yeah. Okay, Chris Jericho. But it did give us a little bit of breather before this next match. We have the Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington. Welcome back, sir. Versus Katsuyori Shibata. Do you want to go first? Because you're familiar with Shibata, yes?
I'm familiar with both of these guys because, as mentioned on commentary, he was up in Calgary, which is my kind of end of the woods. Calgary is only about 4 hours south of me if you're going the speed limit. We'll just leave that at that. So I actually had the privilege of seeing Tommy and meeting him at some of these shows that he worked with Top Talent, with RCW. I've seen him wrestle some of my friends. He's an incredible wrestler, and it's been incredible to see him grow. Because when I first started seeing him wrestling, he was this damn good in the ring, but man, he had no personality. He was drier than a salt-free soda cracker. Very bland. He had no sell, no emotion. He didn't interact with anybody. It was both a blessing and a curse to watch him because he was so damn good. But man, it was like watching Sonata during his IWGP championship era. It was so bad. Now he's so good. We've watched him gain this personality as he started to wrestle more. He started to sell with the faces a little bit more. We saw him high-fiving fans when one of our last shows before he left. Yeah, and then Shibata is also obviously someone I'm very familiar with. New Japan guy, the wrestler, the one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. I would say second to Zack Sabre Jr. Only because Andre might also kill me if I don't say it. Hi, Andre. But yeah, oh my gosh. Okay. Where do I start? Okay, this was as technical as I expected. Tommy is just that good, but Katsuyori Shibata is just that damn gooder. If that makes talking like a redneck. We're gonna go with that today. There was a deathlock that Shibata put Billington in. I liked how he was able to reverse that into the ankle lock very effortlessly. It shows a lot of experience that he had. I gasped when Tommy went for the Tope Suicida, just because he was so close, so close to missing him. And Shibata was just standing there like, you hit me. I don't move for you. You hit me. And he did it. He kind of had to redirect himself a little bit, but he did manage to grab him on the shoulder, pretty good. There was a figure four Shibata reversed, or sorry, figure four by Shibata that Billington reversed by rolling to the outside. Smart ring awareness there. STO by Shibata to Billington, sweeping Billington to the ground. It's just so quick, so effortless too. Like it was like you were watching Bruce Lee do one of his things where it was just like he just did it, and you're like, the guy's on the ground and he's standing there like, huh. That's what that moment kind of felt like for me. Also, just want to randomly shout out. I love that he was wearing his purple pants, Tommy Billington. Best color. I might be a little biased, but the armbar by Shibata on Billington that Billington tries to reverse, but then ends up finding himself in a triangle instead. Again, just speaks to the just experience and technicality of Shibata and how good smart he is. But that snap suplex by Billington, followed by the shotgun drop kick, which he had to work for a little bit. He really had to full extent on that
Mhm.
one and his toes, but man, he rocketed Shibata pretty good. There was a springboard DDT also on the apron by Billington that looked so good. So good. Well timed. Um, I liked the little comeback that Shibata did before they went into the finish with the strikes going back and forth, just
Mhm.
really showing how strong both of these guys are. Because Billington, he was taking a lot of punishment, but he kept standing back up
Mhm.
to kind of face him without hesitation. Yeah, this match was great for me, but also because Tommy came from here, and he has a special little place in my heart.
Yeah. I I I'm only just now, I think this year, 2024, getting into, some Tommy Billington matches. Love knowing that he is going to be doing more stuff in AW and Ring of Honor. This match, perfect opponent for Tommy Billington to get his feet wet in Ring of Honor. The Code of Honor was adhered to. There's no better pure wrestler than Shibata. So I just love seeing a wrestle bout happening and having it be invigorating, exciting. It's not boring. No one's
Mhm.
trying to be face or be heel here. It was just all about wrestling. Yes, it started off with chain wrestling, but there's just something different when it's Shibata. And knowing that Shibata, where he came from many years ago, where he had part of his brain removed, was never supposed to live, let alone wrestle. And now he's come back. It is so great to see him, such an honor to see him every single time. Absolutely love Shibata. So I know that this match is going to be great. I don't know technical wrestling moves as much as I love technical wrestling. I don't know them
Same.
as well as I should. Twisting of legs and arms happens. Uh, Tommy Billington tries to slap out of them or get out of them, but it's like Shibata has like 3 extra inches in his arms that
Mhm.
seem to overpower Tommy Billington really quickly at the beginning of this match. They do go counter for counter, waist lock into a different waist lock, which was really interesting to see how they played with each other here. But the moment that it went out of chain wrestling and into like using your body, your head, your legs, it was like, oh, we're going for it here. We are testing each other. Uh, Tommy Billington headbutting in the sternum. Again, more things that go, ouch. Jeez.
Yeah.
We don't need to be that serious here. But then there's a big boot in response into the face of Tommy Billington that sent him like crashing to the outside. Shibata's figure four was brilliant looking. I think it was better than somebody else's. But he goes from that, and then Tommy Billington reverses it. And then Shibata rolls back through another and another counter. This is the shit that I eat up because it is wrestling. And if this wrestling isn't for you, if you like more of the shenanigans or if you like more of the power, there is things like that on this match on this match card, so to speak. But this was so good. We start going from holds to then German suplexes, and you know how I feel about a German suplex. This was absolutely fantastic. Even though Tommy Billington loses, I feel like he didn't lose anything. He kept
Mhm.
up with Shibata, who is undoubtedly one of Ring of Honor's legends that was just introduced in the last year. Shibata is fantastic. Tommy Billington has been 2 years since Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. It's been 2 years.
Oh,
Oh, because we're almost at our 100th episode of Ring of Honor.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we have to have
Wow.
a birthday party for when we hit the 2 year mark. Um,
Yes, that means there'll be cake.
that means there. See, exactly. But
Yes.
Billington taps at 9 minutes and 15 seconds. I think this was perfectly matched. Both of these guys went toe to toe, so they clearly, if they had a couple more matches, one person would win here, the other would win here. Even the odds, learning more about each other. Their chemistry is undeniable, but I think it's because they are genuinely great wrestlers. So
Mhm.
Shibata always has my heart. So great match. This next match, I am not a Jay Lethal fan, so there
Oh, okay.
are not many notes on this match.
I
QT,
also don't have many notes on this match.
please forgive me, chat. QT Marshall's theme hits, and it sounds like a genuine ripoff to NWO, the wait, wait.
Yeah, I'm like, what year is it?
What year is it? And then we get Black Machismo, Jay Lethal with sensational Karen. Karen Jarrett looked fantastic. That bitch. I love it already. Tell me your
I
feelings
didn't know
about
it was
this.
her.
Yeah, you didn't realize Karen Jarrett was.
No, I didn't know. And I realized it when the commentary finally said it, but I was like, who the hell is the girl? I
Yeah,
don't
she's hot.
recognize her. I
Yeah.
was like, that's not the Karen Jarrett I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm
See,
remembering,
Karen
like,
Jarrett is like slutty, single
I'm
white
thinking the
female.
Aces of Eights kind of thing, like back in the day. I was like, when did she start looking like that?
I know. I don't know.
Wow.
But
Um, yeah,
I
I have 3 notes on this.
go right ahead.
I liked the promo package that they had beforehand
Yeah.
because as someone who had no idea what was going on, this was required. Otherwise, you'd have been confused from start to finish. Um, knowing that when the NW QWO yeah,
QWO, yeah.
came out, I was like, "What in the fudge?" But and I expected at that point, I was like, "Well, why isn't Harley Cameron
Cameron. Hmm.
out doing that thing?" Like, I know she was on a little earlier. She's had a couple matches. She had enough time if she wanted to change.
Hmm.
Just dibbity dab with sweat off her forehead. She's good. Yeah, so like I was a little confused about that. I laughed my booty off at Aaron Solo. Look, absolutely ridiculous. Oh my God. I did appreciate though that they were coming out in these like little almost it was like a cosplay match, is what it felt like. It
Hmm.
was like both a grudge match between QT and Jay, but then also done in a cosplay styling, which you don't always see on these bigger shows. I see it tons on the indies because, they can avoid copyrights or whatever. But yeah, it was nice to see it on a show like this where it was like done in such a hilariously funny, fun way. I don't know, like the patience or just whatever willpower that QT Marshall has. I need to know where he got it because the way he can just do all of the shit that he can do
Hmm.
and do it so straight faced. Like, and then everyone around him, I don't know how they can do it as straight faced either. Because if he's talking and acting the way he is, I'd be busting up all the time. All the time. That man seems like an utterly hysterical human being, genuinely.
Hmm.
Um, So stretched that note out really, really long. My second one was QT Marshall pulling his lady friend. I don't remember it. Carrie Jerry. I don't remember what
Karen
they said her
Jarrett.
name.
Yeah.
No, the other one, the one that came out with the NWO boys, the lady in the plain black dress.
Oh,
I think they called her like Jerry something.
I have no idea who she was.
I don't know either. She looked really uncomfortable to be there, if I'm honest. But
I
you know,
totally forgot that she was there.
well, maybe that's probably a good thing.
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, he pulled QT Marshall, pulled her in front of Jay Lethal to avoid the tope suicida.
Mhm.
But then in some kind of discombobulation on the outside, she ends up out of his way and he eats the tope anyway, which was great.
Mhm.
Um, I was at that point, I think, where Jay actually picked up the other girl and put her on her shoulder like Miss Elizabeth and started walking around. And then Karen was like, dude, what the fudge? That's supposed to be my job. Why are you picking up the other team's lady? Rude. Um, the last thing I had was the springboard or handspring cutter by Lethal.
Mhm.
Looked pretty awesome.
That
I
lethal
really
injection.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I really am really starting to like QT Marshall. I think that's how I'm going to say his name from now on. Marshall. Anyway, I know he's a heel, he's a dink, but it's kind of hilarious, and
Yeah.
he's kind of really good in the ring. He's got this interesting way that he sells and that
Yeah.
he does things that actually like make me go, "Ooh, that's actually really like." I'm not gonna lie though, I don't see him as like championship material, but
Yeah.
I see him as a good person to put in like a mid card, to
Mhm.
put in matches, to have great matches. The like in New Japan, the TMDK guys, Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste, very much those guys. You want a great tag team match, you put those guys in a match, whether they're winning or losing, the match is going to be incredible. The few matches that I have seen of QT Marshall have been like this. It's just they're really entertaining for me to
Yeah.
watch. And that's all I got. I stretched that out as much as I could.
No. So QT Marshall comes to the ring looking like bootleg Timu, NWO, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And I think it's ever so fitting with the black machismo gimmick that Jay Lethal became very famous for at the start of his career. I do have to comment, if you want to listen to Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman having just the time of their life with puns during this freaking match. Let me tell you, there were so many puns that I was like, you know how like when puns happen and you're like focused on something else and you're like, stop, no.
I attend wrestling shows with 2/3. He is very punny. Very punny. We'll be watching the most serious wrestling match and he'll just drop something. I'll be like, I can't take this shit seriously anymore. This
Mhm.
guy's getting yeeted onto a microwave.
Absolutely. But yeah, I was looking at Twitter to see if I could figure out who that woman is. It's his wife. It was QT Marshall's wife. So
That would explain why they were kissing.
yeah, that would explain it. But I, for some reason, my brain just was not. I don't know why I didn't connect it. So, but again, we go for the handshake. Oh yeah, you dig it. And cheap shot by QT Marshall. Wouldn't expect
Mhm.
anything less. The back and forth between the two was fantastic. Yes, I mentioned that Jay Lethal picked up QT Marshall's wife, thinking she was Karen, does the Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth pose. And when you put her down, realize it wasn't Karen. Good moment, letting that breathe for the crowd. Then QT Marshall and Aaron Solo start their shenanigans, which I am not a fan of Aaron Solo. His gimmick in Ring of Honor is very frat boy to me, like very cocky, kind of off-putting to me. So it's don't get me started on my feelings for Aaron Solo, but this match was clearly painted for this Black Machismo win. Solo getting involved is fine, but Sanjay Dutt, why does he have to always put in his fingies where they don't belong?
He does.
But I really appreciate that both of these wrestlers very, very great at what they do. They're trainers for a reason. People go to them to be trained how to wrestle. And I think that they definitely wrestle like that. But they definitely mirrored each other, similar to their Diamond Cutter and then their Lethal Injection, doing each other's moves to get the 2 count of I can do you better, which was fantastic. Aaron Solo starts getting involved in things which I thought, boo. And then he grabs Karen Jarrett, and all of a sudden, we do. Jeff Jarrett comes out to smash his guitar. How do you think that he gets that guitar through the airport?
I mean, it must be tedious putting it back together after every time he breaks it.
He must have a guy. Like in every area that they go to, he has to have like a guitar guy. But
just goes to a pawn shop or something.
Well, that would actually be really cost efficient. But you'd probably have to make sure that, no one's going to, expire if you hit
Yeah.
Oh,
doing
my goodness.
An exorcism as well as an assault.
But I wanted to bring up, so Sean Ross Sapp posted that Jeff Jarrett, let me see if I can find it. Jeff Jarrett has now appeared in AEW, WWE, WCW, NWA, TNA, Ring of Honor,
Oh my God.
New Japan, AAA, GCW, AWA, all the main promotions. Incredible. What a career. Jeff Jarrett.
What would we call that? What would we title that? That feels like a feat that...
Oh my gosh. But I thought that the last part, that there was a lethal injection that was countered by QT Marshall of his own lethal injection, getting that 2 count, both men doing the boo, yay, boo, yay. QT goes for his move of the Diamond Cutter. Jay Lethal backslide right into another lethal injection. Here we go. It was just one of those things of boo, yay, I'm going to do my move. Bam. 1, 2, 3.
Boom.
12 minutes and 40 seconds. A little bit too long for me.
I agree.
But I honestly thought that we were going to see the Costco guys show up because they're going to be doing more things with AEW. But alas.
Costco?
Great match. Yeah, the Costco guys. They had a match. Do you not know the Costco guys?
I feel like I would know somebody named the Costco guy.
Oh my gosh. There's some TikTokers who are very famous, and they do reviews on things at Costco. Millions
Oh,
of followers, brand deals galore. The dad had a match versus QT before
oh, the
Full
Rizzler.
Gear. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. I saw that match. I saw that. I saw that.
I saw that. Yep. But
Oh, I didn't know they
fantastic.
were called the Costco guys. I just knew them
Yeah.
as the Rizzler, which is just not, it's a weird word to say.
I
Isn't
love
that the
it.
child?
Yeah, the child, during that match, I will tell you, I love that he knew exactly where the camera was. Either somebody told him or something, but every time it was on him in red, right? He knew to put on that chart. I just love it. I love anytime people are aware of their cameras, but all right. We are jumping right into the Ring of Honor Women's TV Championship match. Red Velvet, our champion, versus Layla Hirsch.
Mhm.
Tell me what you think of this match. I'm going to go get some more water.
Yeah, yeah. So the live rap entrance was very, very fun for me. I wasn't expecting it. It was a nice little homage. It felt very, very WWE-esque, not so much of the hanky spanky stuff that the AEW guy has. I don't know what the scissor dudes' names are. The amateur wrestling background on full display here with Layla Hirsch rolling around really, really effortlessly with Red Velvet. There was a wheelbarrow hold that Velvet had that she ended up using to throw Hirsch into the ropes and then hits her with the double knee to the back. I don't remember what that's called. Angie will probably give me shit later for not knowing what that was called, but anyway, there was a big side suplex by Hirsch, but Red Velvet rolls through and then ends up hitting Hirsch with a massive spear. There was a swing out German suplex from the top rope by Hirsch, followed by another one on the ground for two, which was just holy shit. There was Velvet trying to hit the double knees again, but Hirsch is able to catch her and then readjusts into a power bomb, followed by I just wrote a springboard. I don't know what she springboarded into, but she flew today, and I guess I thought it looked cool. There was a desperation power bomb by Velvet, where when Hirsch was trying to go for an armbar, looked really really good. I really do again appreciate commentary so much on this show for filling in a lot of blanks that me as a regular viewer doesn't know, and it's like this is exactly what the purpose of commentary is. I felt
Mhm.
it really help us first time viewers get through this and not feel completely lost. So I
Unlike our
appreciated them
other show.
mentioning, yeah, yeah, where it's a
Hmm.
guessing game for both us and them on what's going on.
Hmm.
Um, the mentioning that, I appreciate that they were filling me in on the boxing background of Velvet's family and then what she would have obviously kind of learned from and trained with. There was a knockout punch going from there by Velvet that just dropped Hirsch like a sack of potatoes. The reversals in the end of this match were insane. They were just going so quick. I
Hmm.
couldn't keep up with whatever it was that they were doing before you could even begin to type what was happening. Two more things had already happened. They were moving so insanely fast. Um, I don't know because again I don't watch the show regularly, but is Velvet a heel or is she usually a face?
Here's the thing. She's like a betweener, right? She's always
Okay.
been teetering the line of bad guy, but because she was part of the baddies, right, with Jade Cargill, and that
Yes,
morphed
yeah.
into her departing, so she became a face. Then she went out with injury, then she came back and she was a face. But the more tactics she's been doing, the more heelish it feels. So it's very in betweener.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it was giving me very much heel vibes. It was almost like she was kind of stepping down the faceness to give Hirsch the
mhm,
face boost and give herself the heel boost. She was very much beacon with the crowd quite a bit. She was very much kind of getting in people's faces once the match had kind of ended. Or she was not being, there was some underhanded stuff happening. It very much working heelish in this one. And I loved it because she was dressed like Christmas. But then,
the makeup, the hair, the gear,
yeah,
everything.
yeah, like I knew red and green obviously could combine really good, but her eye
Mhm,
makeup was just killer. And then the
mm,
hairstyle to go along with the gear and everything. She was the perfect total package champion. She looked like a champion, she wrestled like a champion. But Hirsch, oh my gosh, that girl. Again, like I was mentioning, Hi Ho Silva was
mhm,
very much like a happy little unbeatable dwarf that you just kind of launch into the middle of combat and know that he'll take care of himself. Hirsch is like the female version of that. She's very, very dominant, very powerful, very, very strong woman. And this is, I think, the second or third time I've kind of seen her. I've been aware of her. I
mhm.
just don't watch a lot of North American wrestling. I'm that Japanese girl. But I'm getting to learn her, and I really, really, really like what I saw in this match. I love that hair clip.
If you're gonna make so much noise, Mr. Boy, do you want to come say hi?
Oh, yes. Yes, he does.
Oh my gosh. So yes, as Millie said, Layla Hirsch just came back from injury. She had an incredible ladders match with Diamante where she dislocated her elbow and kept
Oh, yes. Yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Insane. This level of work that Layla Hirsch has been doing.
Yeah, because that does not feel nice. Someone who
No.
has gone through that does not feel nice.
And yes,
Oh,
it
wait.
just like
It
even trying
sucks.
to like lift yourself up off the ground is like I don't understand how she did it. But as we started this match, everything that you said was just it was like watching it for the first time, and I really like that. Layla Hirsch definitely out wrestles Red Velvet. Red Velvet has been very green, so to speak, right? Just very
Mhm.
new to everything. However, she wrestled a match versus Shaquille O'Neal during some of her infant startings of her wrestling career, which I still think is just. Could you imagine like your eighth match in being like, oh, who am I verse? Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill. Incredible stuff. I definitely see potential in both of them. Um, but yeah, Layla Hirsch definitely, even though she's small, completely bodied Red Velvet during this match. There was something that Ian Riccaboni called the gator roll, which I don't know if you've ever studied or watched gators, but a gator roll is how you literally like how the gators like
They grab on and they roll.
they grab on and they devour their prey or get them right. I've watched
I
too many
think
YouTube videos that it's like, if you're stuck in a gator roll, this is what you should do. And it's like, I don't plan on being near one. I I don't live in a place like I live in a place where the wind hurts my face so
I
that
was
I
gonna
never have to
say
see an alligator ever. Ever.
that's why I live where the air hurts my face.
Yeah, exactly. No thanks.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but there was definitely a point where Paul Turner was checking in on Layla Hirsch while she was assessing her injuries, and Red Velvet then uses that to capitalize on this match, which easily made Red Velvet into the heel, which surprised me because what have we been doing? I mean, Red Velvet has been in Mexico doing the circuit over there, bringing the TV championship to different platforms. So seeing that, and then it's like, now you've come back and you're a bad guy? What is happening? I wouldn't expect anything less, though.
I mean, it's something similar that Jay White did when he came over on excursion. He left New Japan as a fresh-faced young lion, ready for excursion. He was happy-go-lucky, always a team player. And he came over here and something happened and he came back as the Switchblade. Turned on Okada. So something about leaving home makes you have a bad influence somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely felt myself cheering for Layla to win about halfway through this match. This match was 11 minutes. Much longer than a lot of AEW women's matches. There was a springboard moonsault by Layla Hirsch that I thought was it. But Red Velvet grabbed that bottom rope. And then Red Velvet, all she does is just stomp on the arm, right? She's getting her vengeance here. She's really trying to put Layla Hirsch into the screams. I was like, hello, what is happening? Why are we trying to make? I know it's a work, but it's still real to me, damn it.
If they're doing their jobs properly, they suspend that that reality for you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like there's some people when they wrestle, it's obvious that it is just a thing for them, and you'll see them waiting for moves or like not selling enough or no selling at all or overselling to a point of just ridiculousness that they put you in that state is a very good thing about both of them.
Absolutely. So yeah, the amount of false finishes really got me. And it frustrated Red Velvet because she doesn't want to lose on an iconic nostalgia stage, the final battle, the final pay-per-view of 2024. So she goes under the ring. She grabs the turnbuckle, which I didn't see the wrench go in the back of the pants. So when Paul Turner grabbed that, I go, okay, we're not going to have a weird finish. Bam. Hits the wrench, hits Layla Hirsch in the head, steals the win, and still your Ring of Honor Women's TV Champion, Red Velvet. Great match. Great wrestlers. I didn't know that Red Velvet was going to be a heel, so can we play on more of this? I need a reason a little bit, but I don't know who's going to take it off of Red Velvet, but we'll see as time goes on. But okay. This is what I've been waiting for the entire night, because the Pure Championship match is my absolute favorite. This is the title belt that I have the most passion for. And I'm so glad if you're listening to this now or at a later date, this is what I'm here for. Our current Ring of Honor Pure Champion, Lee Moriarty, comes out. He's issued this open challenge. Our ringside judges, by the way, Christopher Daniels, so that takes the possibility of that being out, Rocky Romero, and Jerry Lynn. Shane Taylor's out there, and all of a sudden we hear the music that we heard a couple months ago for the first time in 11 years, 12 years, 13 years. Nigel motherfucking McGuinness. I called it last night. If you were here, Kimmy, the moment Kimmy said it, I go, hey, I thought that was going to happen because you cannot have Final Battle at the Hammerstein Ballroom and not include Nigel McGuinness. 2008. You want to watch Final Battle 2008 because it's him versus Bryan Danielson for this very same championship. This is the show of shows for me personally. This is one of those matches that I bootleg watched, torrented on the internet because it wasn't accessible like with Honor Club here.
Oh gosh.
This made me feel like okay, in 2008, oh my god, teenager 19-year-old me, just baby in the mind of wrestling, because this is where it's like I'm choosing what I'm watching, I'm choosing what I'm consuming. And this was such a great fit. Nigel is the longest reigning pure champion in the history of Ring of Honor. Even through pandemics, bullshit. This is the perfect champion for Lee Moriarty, who is heel, but he talks a big talk. They start this match on the mic, and I needed that pussy line because I needed this to not be like a WWE, kind of thing. Like, I needed this to be for fans our age, right? This turned it from this is for kids, even though there were quite a number of children in the audience. The moment that they said that line sold for me. This is it. I didn't care either. However, the moment that came on, but yeah, what did I write down? Nigel never had Shane pegged as a coward just because he has no hair on his head. Oh, just because he has no hair on his head is no excuse for talking like a pussy. And I think that needs to be on my gravestone. You know what I mean? That needs to be in there. But as we go into this match, I know that this is long-winded. It's only because we have storyline going into this. Nigel says right when Bobby Cruz is in there, he said, we need to go back to the original, the old school, pure rules. Here are your rules. Only pinfall or submission. You only get 3 rope breaks, which is like usual. Straight punches to the face are illegal and are penalized by the rope break, which makes sense because usually you get 1 closed fist, but it doesn't count against you in your 3 rope breaks. But man, oh man, this match, we do get a code of honor. The bell finally rings. And we just get Nigel McGuinness being cheeky. His ring awareness, his attitude, the fuck him up Nigel chants, everything was perfect. And you could just see Lee Moriarty trying to be an arrogant son of a bitch. The moment Nigel McGuinness gets off the mat, they are just going intertwined like Twister style. That's the only thing that I could equate to the wrestling style that these two were going back and forth. And then Nigel peeks at the ropes. He knows where he is in the ring. And he shoves Lee Moriarty into the rope to get that first rope break for Lee Moriarty. The second rope break for Lee Moriarty was the sound of that closed fist, which counts against you as a rope break. And you see Lee Moriarty going, I didn't do that. You're cheating now. Shane Taylor loses his ever-living mind. He's, calling Paul Turner all kinds of names. And he calls Nigel McGuinness a cheater. And I just love how cheeky Nigel McGuinness is, especially in this, because it was just so akin to who he was and has always been in the ring. These two go back and forth, and all of a sudden, Lee Moriarty gets one up, and Nigel has to use a rope break. Now the match has stakes. Now we're sorry, my eye is watering. This match makes me very emotional because it's just now we're even, so to speak. We're not even, but then we have a back and forth. We have a Tower of London. We have a Lee Moriarty kicking out. And you know what I love every time that Lee Moriarty and Nigel kick out? It's not the obvious rigor mortis and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It's fluid. I don't know how both of them do it, but it's so similar that I feel like they copied each other. Well, Nigel was the original and Lee studied him. But it's the thing of, this is how you know that they're great wrestlers, because they see that, and they're not rigor mortis, and then it is just believable. It is suspenseful. It's knowing where your body is in the ring. So we're even 1-to-1 rope breaks. Lee Moriarty catches Nigel with a knee in the corner. Another roll up for a 2 count. And then Nigel has to use his last rope break. He's exhausted. And this is where the crowd goes, oh no. Oh no. Now our heartstrings are tugged. This is so much storytelling in these small little stipulations. We could just have a regular, twister style wrestling match, the older guy versus the younger guy, and it would be fine. But the stipulation, the rules tell more story than I think that any sort of gimmick or whatever could come up with, especially since this was an open challenge. So after we get to 0 rope breaks, now the fun starts, because now we are wrestling, and there were a couple moments where Nigel tried to go for the rope break and he couldn't, and he's like, oh, because you naturally just go for it, and you have to just figure it out. These are the cards you were drawn, and now you have to figure it out. In the end, you see Lee Moriarty using his feet for leverage to crank on the back of Nigel McGuinness for him to tap. There's so many more things that I could say about this match, and I really skipped over a lot of my notes because this was 4 pages of notes. And I went back and forth going, wasn't this like his match versus Bryan Danielson? Wasn't this match like this? There were spots in this match that only if you are an insane sicko like me would you use those parallels. And maybe I'll write an article on it. I don't know. Yeah, but this was so fantastic. My match of the night, besides for the women's main event, but if this is like out of 5 stars, this is a 5-star match for me. Now that I have taken up so much time, Melba, what did you think of this? Because this is like your introduction to Pure Rules matches.
Yeah. And for a little bit, I was kind of like, I was paying very close attention to what was going on, because I was like, okay, the rope breaks are important. Like I figured out the rules. Okay, take us into it. I loved how, again, that manager valley culture is kind of working for me, where Taylor was doing the absolute most to do what he needed to for his dude here, and it worked out so well because he wasn't obnoxious. He wasn't getting physical. He was getting physical. One of the notes that I have here is there's a point where McGinnis actually sidesteps and
Mm.
Moriarty actually goes flying by him and actually takes out Tyler. Tyler on the outside there. Um, there was that headstand that McGinnis does on that top turnbuckle. And then when Moriarty got close enough, he gave him that little I don't know what we would call that, a mule kick in that situation.
Yeah, just
There's
the
a
back kick. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles going. I don't know what animals do in the kick, but it's a kick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, when he first hit his first finish, I think it was that Tower of London, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's his finish, it's over." I was like, "Oh, damn." When he kicked out of it, I'm like, "Ooh, where do we go from here?" Um, kept going though. I really enjoyed the technicality of this one. I really enjoy also, I just have to shout out Nigel McGuinness's gear, the purple plaid. There's actually someone here who has pretty much the exact same gear, but it's like in blue and red.
I love a
So
plaid.
it makes me happy. And it was a Rads. It was someone Andre was complaining about earlier with the tip touch. Um, um, oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to say was there was a fun little boinky, I called it a boinky boinky lariat thing that McGinnis did, where he kind of like boinked off one of the ropes and then turned around and whipped it. It was like almost like a tornado kind of lariat looking thing.
Hmm.
And then all I could think about was Animaniacs. It was a good time. Good time. I really enjoyed this
Animaniacs.
match though. And we're zany to the max. Oh, where are the days where I could go to a bar and sing that song and be bought a shot for
I
it?
know, right? Let's go right now.
Fun fact, I got a round of shots for my table once because I knew all of Shawn Michaels' Sexy
Mm,
Boy theme song.
that's incredible. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I want to know your opinion of what do you feel about the Pure Rules champion or the Pure Rules stipulations?
So I actually like it because, wrestling is going to be subjective. It
Hmm.
has to have a little bit of everything for everyone. And it kind of adds a little different twist on just a regular singles match. It puts a little extra things on it, almost like a small challenge for
Hmm.
the people involved. So to me, I look at this kind of match and I actually almost say that this is more of a um, specialist kind of match. This is not
Hmm.
something you're going to see someone who lacks experience, who lacks skill, who's fairly new to the business and is still fairly green. You're not going to see them in this match, and if you do, they're not going to be good at it. The people like this Moriarty guy, who again, this is my first time seeing him. I've never seen the infantry really before. As I mentioned, I only really know Trisha Dora and Taylor, and they're the managers of the group. Um, but this was a great introduction for me for this
Hmm.
Moriarty guy because it showed me again the beginning of the show we saw how much the other two guys of the infantry are over with the crowd despite being a heel faction. This guy also, you can tell that the crowd obviously very behind Nigel McGuinness, but
Yes.
there was those people in the crowd who were also cheering for Moriarty, and you could see the respect that the crowd also had for Moriarty after. That's always a good sign also, that they're not chanting derogatorily at anybody after the match. Always a good sign. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I love these kind of different rules matches, and it's a good way to break up the show, give
Yeah.
people something different to kind of focus on. Because if you give them too many just rinky dink singles matches, we're going to lose interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we are into We are seeing down the barrel of the end. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for this show. Thank you so much for hanging on with us as we go through all of these matches. We do have our Ring of Honor World Tag Team match of the Sons of Texas. That's, I guess, what they're called now. But it's versus the Righteous in a double bull rope match.
How?
I've thoughts and feelings about this. I from one gimmick to an ultimate, ultraviolet gimmick match. I don't know. I feel like any match is going to have Dustin Rhodes at this point is always going to mention Dusty, and the storytelling on this match has been fantastic. However, I'm pissed because if we are not going to pull the trigger on the Righteous now, when? And I figured it out at the end of this, why we're keeping the belts on Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. But I liked Sammy Guevara with his face half painted like Dustin. I also want to mention, I don't have a lot of notes for this match because I wanted to watch this match without writing a lot of. They did this move and then did this move. This was just going to be violence all around. They're wearing jeans, for goodness sake. It's a street house fight. So the
They
moment
don't
that
be women's jeans because they had a lot of tears in them.
So what's so funny is that my husband got home at this point, and I was like, this is like the first time I've ever remember seeing Sammy Guevara in jeans, but then I remembered at the Stadium Stampede he was wearing jeans. But then I go, these look like what are those Judy Blume jeans, or like the all-way stretch jeans that fits everybody, or whatever, the magical pants. And I'm like, this is like what is it, Tom Hardy? No.
Ed
Yeah,
Hardy?
it's Ed Hardy. Yeah, it's like Ed Hardy coded. Thank you so much for laughing at my terrible jokes. So funny,
Oh,
so
that
corny.
takes me back.
I know,
Oh,
same.
damn it, Auntie, I'm old.
I had the ones with the crosses on the butt. Yeah. The
And the
rhinestones.
t-shirts.
Yeah.
I dated a guy who wore the t-shirts that had all the rhinestones and
Yeah.
the blingy shit. He was more bedazzled than I was. Like, shit. What a wild time.
But so before this match even fucking starts, even before the bell rings, we have a brawl on the outside. I don't know if I liked that, but Sammy Guevara gets in the ring and he flies out, takes out Dutch and Vincent. Dutch gets in the ring and he goes over the top and lands on his feet barely. That dude is huge. How the hell is he doing that? The bell still hasn't rung. They're just brawling. They're just being crazy guys. And Sammy and Dustin do this tag team suplex or whatever the hell. And then Sammy goes for a moonsault. The bell still has not rung. What is happening, brothers? They haven't
Was
even
it
got.
because they needed to have the straps on before the match could officially
Yeah,
start?
they gotta put their
Yeah.
straps on with their bull ropes. They gotta get tied up. This was real shit here.
This is wrestling, you guys. You need to get tied up.
So finally, everyone gets tied up, and it was just a brawl out. I couldn't keep track. It's always hard for me in tag matches that aren't actual tag matches because I don't know where to look. But gosh, the Righteous was taking every opportunity to do what they could. There was a choking moment where Vincent choked Sammy with his rope, and then there was choking of Dustin, and commentary goes, he's starting to turn blue, and it's like they have blue face paint on.
I wrote that exact thing. Their face is turning blue. I'm like, my dude, is he choking Sammy with the force?
I don't know. Oh,
Ah,
but this was just every which way that there was something. Sammy Guevara is going to make it interesting and vertical, so to speak. But what a way to have this hyped out match pre shenanigans. And oh my gosh, the spot on the ladder with Sammy Guevara, where I know he must have clipped the back of his head on that last step.
yeah.
And I noticed that when they did the replay, I was like, they're not showing the other angle because it's gonna look bad. So that kind of took me out for a little bit. But he still was going. Sammy was still going. I don't understand how he does that. I don't know how Darby Allin does that. These guys, I don't understand. But the senton looked fantastic. But the match still went.
I think I have an
And
answer for you, Auntie.
okay,
Do you remember Eliza Schlesinger, the comedian?
yes,
Yeah, I'm going to quote her because
okay.
they're in their 20s and they're stupid. That's the only explanation I got.
That's a really good explanation, though. Oh my gosh.
It's got to be the best thing because it's just what compels you to be like, yes, this is a great idea.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this match ending would just kind of piss me off a little bit because why are we not pulling the trigger on a different tag team? But Sammy in the end slides the family cowbell because that's what they've been fighting for. Dustin looks at it like a long lost lover, points it to the sky, and smashes Dutch on the head with it. And still, your champions, the Sons of Texas. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts.
You sound super stoked about this.
The ending. I wanted the righteous to win. Come on. Why can't we pull the trigger on them?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest Dustin Rhodes fan.
Yeah.
So like I'm in the same boat as you are. I'm sitting there going, why? Why? Well, I think we know why. AEW money. That's why. But
Yeah.
the match itself was phenomenal. Vincent had shoes.
Why was he wearing shoes? Come on.
I am happy that he's wearing shoes. But
Okay.
that besides the point. This match was a little difficult for me because I'm not a hardcore girl. So when there were weapons and stuff kind of being out and then the chairs and the straps and stuff, I already knew I wasn't probably not gonna like this match too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not a big, how do you say his name? Let me spell this out. Guevara?
Guevara, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not the biggest fan of him either. He's kind of like a little too reckless with himself, and it gets me very scared.
Yeah.
So I'm not the biggest fan of Dustin and Sammy. I was kind of hoping that they'd lose kind of out of just spite. But also I see the value
The
in the
spite.
team. Maybe a little.
Yeah.
But Vincent and Dutch, you can tell that they have this little something extra that I felt might have maybe just based again, I'm basing this on the promo that I saw because I don't watch the show regularly, but the promo I got, it kind of felt that like Vincent and Dutch had a little bit more of a connection and a bit more of a camaraderie.
Yeah.
Even though I know that Dustin and Sammy, they've been working together in AEW a hot minute. They've been in matches together, both together against each other. It they've kind of done it all. But even though they have kind of done it all, it feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect. Like they're
Hmm.
holding hands, but they're just kind of holding like the tips of their fingers, as opposed to like solidly holding each other's wrists kind of deal.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, I didn't have as much also investment in them as much as I did in Vincent and Dutch. But yeah, didn't have a whole lot except for when Vince cut off his strap.
Yes. Why did I
Yeah,
mention that? Why did he cut it off? Like, since when can you do that?
right. I mean, it might. I mean, fair. I wouldn't complain about being strapped to Vincent,
Sure. I would
but like,
enjoy it.
yeah, but he was strapped to Sammy, wasn't he? Or was he
Yeah,
strapped to the other
yeah, he
one?
was strapped to Sammy. Mhm.
So, like, I could see that being pretty annoying. We both have dogs and we both have small dogs. Let me tell you, when my little shit gets to the end of his leash, it's just like, wiggity, 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 wiggity. I don't want that attached to my arm either. I dislocated my shoulder. I don't need that shit. So
Yeah.
totally fair.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't have a whole lot. I actually just kind of watched this one and been like, "Ugh." I kind of had like my what's that rapper's name? Glorilla? Ooh, ooh,
I don't.
ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh,
I was I was kind of doing that the whole match.
Glorilla.
I am not a hardcore girl. I don't I it just maybe it's because like I have a friend who like loves it and it scares the shit out of me because I'm
Mhm.
usually used to seeing my friend being hurt and then laughing gleefully about it. Like he just had a garland stapled to his chest.
Insane.
I don't get it.
Why?
Because Merry Crisis.
Merry Christmas is a crisis.
Merry Crisis.
Oh, Merry Crisis. 15 minutes and 30 seconds that match was.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
I felt every minute of it.
Yeah. Well, another match that I felt every minute of,
Good God, yeah.
25 minutes and 35 seconds, which I figured this would be your
Yeah, same.
longest match. This is our Ring of Honor TV Championship Survival of the Fittest match. Brian Cage, our champion, versus AR Fox, who we haven't seen on Ring of Honor television in a while. Willie Mack, who we've seen here and there. Um, I do you catch the Gigolo
On his
references
booty.
on his booty? Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I liked that his vest said naughty or nice, and I'm pretty sure I wrote a tweet that says naughty or nice, whatever you want, Willie Mack.
Whatever you want, Mr. Chocolate.
Yep. And versus Commander versus Blake Christian versus Mark Davis. I thought this was gonna go somewhere else, but
Mm-hmm.
pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So this is single elimination rules until there's one man standing. Um, very early on, Brian Cage, who I think is just a wet bag of dog food, um, which I said he looks really tan,
Yeah.
like burnt hot dog tan.
Now, the question is who was more tan on this show, though? Brian Cage or Matt Cardona?
But like Matt Cardona is like that's his gimmick is like being disgustingly
Gross.
tan. But this
His
was
armpits
just
are white.
yeah, it is nasty. Um,
Oof.
so early on, right? We're getting, everybody's getting in their shit, right? Willie Mack is like the savior of this first part of the match. It takes 9 minutes and 48 seconds to eliminate Willie Mack. But we go through like, you do your spot here, you do this, you go through the ropes here, we get a spear on the apron, we're doing jumps from the outside, we're having catching. Brian Cage just kept catching people, and I'm like, just stop doing that, and then he won't get you. But man, Willie Mack was having moment after moment after moment. Stunner, stunner, stunner. It was like Stone Cold Willie Mack over here. Absolutely fantastic. And then motherfucking Brian Cage eliminates Willie Mack in 9 minutes and 48 seconds. The crowd was pissed. They're going to get even more pissed.
Yeah.
But a few minutes later, I mean, we're getting the showcase of AR Fox, which is foreshadowing he's going to be eliminated next, right? So he's going right after Brian Cage. We're getting some, I don't know how many rotations he does, but we're getting one of those flippy rotations. I should just say it's 450 because it was like, right? Like, I don't know how it goes. I would have to count. I'm sure if I looked it up, but the way that AR Fox runs his body seems dangerous, but he seems to be handling it fine. So I'm not going to tell him what to do. But AR Fox and Commander needs to be a showdown because they would just be bullets going out of a gun here. But AR Fox gets caught by Brian Cage. Top rope powerbomb by Brian Cage, which looked like he was murdering a child. And AR Fox is eliminated by Brian Cage. So the crowd is proper pissed. And then we get Mark Davis, who I thought was going to win all of this, right? Because there is that paralleled AEW storyline, with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. So we're going back and forth. Commander showing his flippy dippy shit. But Mark Davis caught one and returned it into a German suplex and then immediately gave one to Brian Cage. How do they do these things? But definitely Mark Davis, the crowd was getting behind him. Huge lariat into a pile driver. And Brian Cage is eliminated. So there has to be a new champ. At 17 minutes, we're into this. Literally, but then 12 seconds later, Blake Christian, that piece of shit, eliminates Mark Davis because Blake Christian does this low blow thing. And it's another of these frat boy motherfuckers that I know that they specifically piss me off because that is not my scene. But gosh darn, that sucked the air out. Because then we were down to Commander and Blake Christian, which if you wanna see some heat from the Hammerstein Ballroom, the moment that happened at 17 minutes and 12 seconds, we have another 8 minutes of wrestling back and forth, suplex to shenanigans, to submission holds, to another 450, to this is awesome chance, and fuck you, Blake Christian chance. Commander doing the Hurricane Rana and then doing the opposite way of the poison Rana from the top rope when he scales it and does that. I don't know how he does it. It's fantastic. But
Mhm.
everything that Commander tried to bring to him, Blake Christian seemed to stop. And I had this thought, what if Blake Christian gets this TV championship? He's never going to show up on the show.
Isn't
But
that what you want?
he never would. Blake Christian would not show up. I want them to show up. I want to see it. But man, at the end, Ian Riccaboni called the Canadian Destroyer the Mexican Destroyer for Commander
Yeah.
for the win. That's the best part of the entire match. Absolutely loved it. Now I'm sorry, I took the win out of the sale. Tell me what you thought of the match. I mean, yeah, the entire match.
I I actually had a lot of fun with this. I've
Mhm.
seen Willie Mack a little bit when I decide I wanna suffer and I wanna watch some AAA.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, I know, it's not often. I try to limit my masochistic tendencies.
Oh my god.
Um, um, Davis is a personal favorite. Andre and I loved watching Aussie Open with Kyle Fletcher and the United Empire. I also thought it would be smart to have Davis win this one. Again, with the tandem, I do know that there's some issues going on with United Empire, with Davis, with the Phallus family
Mhm.
over there. How cool would it have been? Because wasn't Fletcher in this tournament the year before? How cool would it have
Yeah.
been to be able to be Mark Davis and be like, "Look what I did that you couldn't do."
Yeah.
That would have been a
Mhm.
really fun way to kinda, work in that story a little bit more.
Yeah.
However, what do I know?
However.
I'm just a fan, right?
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I'm not gonna lie, I started making my dinner when the intros and stuff were all happening, so I missed the part about the elimination
Mhm.
style. So Cage pinned Willie Mack, and I was like, "Well, that's unfortunate. A couple other people didn't really get a moment to shine." And then it's like, "Oh, such and such has been eliminated." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. This is a happy little surprise. Excellent. Glad I wasn't paying attention."
Oh my god.
Um, there was a one thing I wanted so there was like an inside out cutter, I think is what they called it, by Christian. That was really, really cool. I actually had the privilege of seeing Blake Christian perform here a couple months ago at Love Pro Wrestling, and he was facing who did he face? Why am I drawing a blank right now? Martial Specialist. Oh my god, it was a champion. Jesus, Murphy. Phenomenal.
Mhm.
Phenomenal. Heel as fuck. Was
Mhm.
surprised we wanted to meet him. But yeah, tremendous talent. I know he's a heel. I was kind of like introduced to him his first time in New Japan Strong when the Strong brand was first starting up, right before he
Mhm.
went to NXT on that abysmalness. He was kind of like, what was the name that popped up on the screen for him? Vanilla Baby?
Yeah,
He
yeah. Something vanilla.
He was definitely the vanilla boy when he was in Strong. He had
Mhm.
all this incredible talent. He just didn't he had the opposite problem of like Tommy Billington, where Tommy Billington was very stoic. His facial expressions never changed. Whereas with Christian, they changed. They weren't enough. There wasn't
Mhm.
enough. There was charisma there. There was embers of it. There was crumbs of it. It needed to be properly ignited. It was ignited in GCW, and now we get this version of Christian. And as much as he's a frackin' dick, I frickin' love it. I love
Oh.
I know I hate to say it, but
Mhm.
in every show, you gotta have these great faces. who are just those people like Commander who just control the crowd and get the cheers going. And you have to have these mofos that get the polar opposite reaction to keep that balance. And Christian is that guy. He knows exactly what to say and do to make you hate him. It's cheap heat. It's not lazy heat, though, but it is cheap heat, and it works so well for him because we pay attention more to the cool shit he's doing now that
Mhm.
he's being more of a dick. So, like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of heels, but he works. He works for me. I felt that everybody got a lot of really good opportunities in this to show off. I had never seen AR Fox before. So this was like a very pleasant treat because he was, whoo, that was a great throw on into this mix. And he's kind of got this thing where he almost looks like he's wily, like he's just throwing his limbs around.
Yeah.
But in actuality, he knows exactly what he's doing, and his limbs are exactly where he wants them to be in that moment of time. Like everything he does has a proper purpose into what he's doing, from his facial expressions to where his hands are, to where his feet are, to where what he's doing, how he's selling, what he's doing when he's milling about. It's purposeful. And I love that because that's something that I miss seeing. Because sometimes we got these guys, again, they just stand there and wait for things, or they're sitting on the edge of the ring watching everything go down. It's
Mhm.
distraction. And it happens on AEW quite frequently as well,
Yeah.
which I would almost say is like they're supposed to be rivaling, higher end companies. That should be something that they don't have. Whereas, like,
Well,
you look at ROH, I never saw that at all in
hmm.
this show. No one waiting for anything. Everything was very professional. People on this show are very experienced and good at their jobs.
Hmm.
I'm going to stop rambling about this, even though this is the name of the show. But this was a great
Well,
match.
I mean, after this match, we get a video message from Yoshinobu
Yoshinobu
no,
Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
Yoshinobu Kanemaru
Yeah.
and show the House of Torture
Yeah.
challenging for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. This is interesting. This is why
Yeah.
I think that they did not lose their tag team belts. It's just going to make Wrestle Dynasty even more exciting.
Here's my hesitation with that.
Ooh.
See, do I think that it's going to be a problem for House of Torture when after I say this? The answer is going to be no, and that is Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Sho are both juniors. The junior division is going to be under 200 pounds.
Oh.
Um, I don't know about. I mean, Sammy's going to be just fine, but I think Dustin's a wee bit hefty. So,
Hmm.
I think that it's going to be an interesting combination
Mhm.
because Yoshinobu Kanemaru, he's called the heel master in New
Hmm.
Japan, and that is because he is one of the best heels that they have, the most experienced heel that they have in New Japan, and he is in House of Torture. So he's teaching all of those boys how to be annoying as well. Well, and
Annoying.
then, yeah, and then we have, Sammy and Dustin coming over into enemy territory, essentially. They're coming over to Japan, which is going to be where the rest of House of Torture is. Like, who's going to be helping Sammy and Dustin when Dick Togo and Evil and Yujiro Takahashi and Ren Narita, the other members of House of Torture, decide, hey, we like choking people. We're going to choke you. Like, they might not take too kindly to that. That being said, hopefully Dustin's size is going to be enough of a thing in there that he can kind of counteract the bigger guy of like evil in that situation. But something tells me Sammy's going to get his shit wrecked a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a lot of it, probably.
But I know that the promos going into that are going to be phenomenal because House of
Mhm.
Torture is making a lot of noise right now. Evil is challenging Hiroshi Tanahashi. They're having a big lumberjack match for Hiroshi Tanahashi's career.
Mhm.
They're doing a lot of stuff over there. So this is going to be a great crossover for both of these guys. Be
Mhm.
able to get exposure in both companies.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. All right, we got 2 matches left. The next match, so we have our Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Title match of Chris Jericho versus Matt Cardona. Why don't you go first? I might go on a rant.
I feel like the hands, this just kind of said,
Millie
this
says,
is
"Do we gotta?"
so much. I'm gonna put right out there. I might be Canadian, but that does
Mhm.
not make me a Chris Jericho fan.
Well,
I
well
actually
said.
have always disliked him. I've
Mhm.
never liked the character. I know that the character is very experienced. I know that WCW had the better character work of him
Mhm.
than I feel that we got at WWE. But the Y2J thing, the countdown, I thought it was cool. And then I saw him and I'm like, this is stupid. I
Tell me
was,
what you
and
really think. Jeez.
it was never a vibe for me, unfortunately, and it's totally fine because, like, again, he's
Mhm.
always a great. To me, I didn't think he was a championship worthy kind of person, but I felt he was a great
Yeah.
person to put in the matches if you wanted to have a great match with some great promos. Because I've always thought his promo game was strong. I just
Yeah.
never liked his wrestling or the character.
Mm.
Um, that being said, I haven't been the biggest fan of Cardona either. Not because I don't like the character work that he does, but just because he's mostly a hardcore guy. That's just
Mm.
not my vibe. Uh, that being said, there were a few pretty decent things that I saw in this. I liked the character work where Jericho and Keith, look out for Keith, were on the outside there, beacon at Cardona's family and like getting in his family's faces. I liked that character work. It created something fun, especially when like Jericho shoves like his dad and his beacon at his mom, and then his mom had some colorful choice words for Jericho and Keith and Bill after when he showed up. Um, I like the double drop kick Cardona did to Keith and Jericho. There
Mhm.
was a top rope drop kick by Cardona that looked really good. The springboard lion salt sucked. I don't know what happened there. It looked like he slipped or something. I don't know. I'm gonna try
Yeah,
to be
it
nice
looked
in that, but it's
awkward.
like it looked kind of like it
Mhm.
didn't look like a wee. It looked like a wah. You know,
Wow.
um,
Oh wow.
a wah. The lion tamer attempts were nice. Obvious, always nostalgic with Chris Jericho. If I don't see a lion salt or a lion
Mhm.
tamer, I'm usually who am I watching?
Who is
Um,
this?
Cardona tearing the literal shirt off of Jericho's back was pretty funny, though, when he was trying to roll him up for that school ball.
So I do have to say, by the way, those shirts, the I Heart New York shirt, if you see someone in it, they are not a real New Yorker. That like those are tchotchke like items you give to a child. So if you see someone in one of those shirts, it is New York culture to rip it off their fucking body. Like
Oh, perfect.
that is a New York thing of like if you want to get made fun of, you wear an I Heart New York shirt.
Noted.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
getting
don't
one of
buy
those.
one. You can buy it for like somebody else. You can wear it anywhere else except New York.
Oh, I did get a chuckle though, because when he did rip it, it didn't really come off the front. It just kind of came off the back.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he's wearing a halter now. That's a shame. Uh, yeah, and then the
Loved
next
it.
part, why was he wearing trunks again?
Uh,
That
eh,
was that was a choice.
it was a
Maybe
choice, the incorrect
maybe one
one.
that should, yeah, not be revisited in the future. Um, I like
Oh,
seeing Mr. Big Bill. Always nice to see him. He's looking great,
okay.
looking healthy.
Did you feel like so when Chris Jericho came out, which
Mm.
his entrance, New York, New York, I was like, that's where your money for your budget went. Was New York, New York. But when he just came out with Brian Keith, I was like, where's Large William? Where is large-ish William?
It was like Blue's Clues.
Because yeah,
Almost there.
exactly. So I was just waiting for it. Oh, there's
Yeah.
a clue, you know? But
I kind of also felt that he was going to be lurking about in at some point because, as much as I hate to admit it, that's kind of how smart Jessica,
Jessica. Yep. His name is Jessica
Jessica.
now.
That's that's how smart that guy kind of
Mm-hmm.
tends to be. It's kind of that irritatingly kind of smart situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and probably also because of his just years of experience in the business. But yeah, I knew Bill was going to come out. And again, nice to see him. I mean, he looks fantastic. So healthy. Did you see he ran into Enzo recently?
Oh, I love that. Is it what at his wedding? Did you
I don't
see?
know. They were at a beach thing, it looked like. It definitely looked like they were in
Is
their
his
swim
wedding? Yeah.
swim
Mhm.
trunks and stuff.
Oh, swim trunks. I love that.
Yeah. They did the bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing? Warmed my little black heart. Um, Oh, there I liked the Code Breaker by Cardona. It's just a nice little kindly go fuck yourself. Um, I don't know what I meant by this. I feel like this was my last note with Keith with run. Keith with run. I guess Keith ran. I don't know what I meant there. Did he ran in, didn't he? He ran in and hit someone with a title.
Ye- um,
Maybe?
Big Bill?
No, Keith. Watch
Oh,
out for
Keith Lee.
Keith.
Oh, he came in, yes, at the end. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Yeah, this was interesting. There was no DQ. I don't know. I don't really know what was happening with this. But I just think that like Matt Cardona is like a great wrestler. Like he's a great wrestler, but he's even better as like the charismatic nature of him. You saw that his gear was um Ghostbusters, which is like the most New York thing ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved that. Um but there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention in this match. I love that. I love a cocky Jericho. I love when Jericho picks up the camera on the outside and
Yeah.
starts filming himself smashing Cardona into the ring steps. We
Mhm.
did get some woo 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 chants, which was fantastic. But yeah, I wanted to mention that that line salt or whatever that was trying to happen, it kind of looked like it was like corkscrewed somehow, like one leg went and the other one didn't. So it looked
Yeah.
kind of awkward. But I absolutely love every time that Chris Jericho does the Walls of Jericho because it is very nostalgic. But Matt Cardona knew it. He rolled through and they continued the match. Um, it kind of broke down a little bit once Big Bill, you know,
Big Bill.
interfered. Yeah, he kicking Matt Cardona in the face. And then the Judas effect got blocked, and then the code breaker was blocked, and it was just everything just seemed a little like, oh God, what is happening? And it was like that for a little bit too long. I mean, the previous match was 25 minutes and this went on for more than 18 minutes.
Oh my
So
God, what?
yeah, 18:24 was your time for this match. So it just felt a
Oh,
little bit every bit of 18 minutes for me.
yeah.
But Big Bill having the ref and Brian Keith hit Cardona with the Ring of Honor title belt. I was trying to mush all those words together. Just for Jericho to pin and still your champion. Boo, boo, boo.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people complain about Chris Jericho. I get it. But my biggest complaint about this is because you have so many talent that are stuck on Ring of Honor, right? This is kind of like purgatory for AEW wrestlers when they're not being used. So just put them on Ring of Honor. We'll see what happens. See if they get some wins and see how we could develop them. You can't even build up other single stars in Ring of Honor that you have to dig into the pockets of the indies to have like what is everyone fighting for? That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, it's late, I know. But what are we fighting for if we're just having Chris Jericho on the card? You know what I mean? Like, I get that the reason why Chris Jericho is here, trying to secure their TV deal or streaming deal or whatever the hell is happening. But you can't even bother to build up an actual, like, sorry, an actual Ring of Honor talent to be a believable competitor for Jericho. Did we ever think that Matt Cardona was taking that championship? No. Do I like what Chris Jericho was doing, showing up at GCW, making all this fuss going on, like having this like Mr. New York thing? Yes, I love everything getting in here, but it's the moment that you get in the ring and I go, I don't care. I don't want to care. What I do care about is this post match. Big Bill, Brian Keith beating up Matt Cardona, and all of a sudden, Bandito. Except he comes and does this drop kick and he hits his head. And it feels like this sequence happens. And then they just walk away. And I go, oh, we're addressing the possible concussion that could have happened. And I think that following concussion protocol was exactly what needed to happen. But man, a bandit and a bounty hunter? Say less. Say less.
Right. Right. I remember the first time I saw Keith, and like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Hoodwinked.
Yes.
Look out for Keith. Oh no. That was all I could think about. And now it's a running joke with Andre and myself. But man, his Keith turned out to be like really good wrestler and like
Yeah.
really good manager in the corner of Chris Jericho. Honestly, one of the only things that makes me care about Jericho are the people that are backing him. Isn't that sad?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
But at
Well,
least something is making me care.
yeah, that's true. Now we are in our
What?
main event. We have the Ring of Honor women's title match of Athena versus Billy Starks. Billy Starks comes out first. She has Suke. Is that how you say? Themed gear.
Sasuke? Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Sasuke.
I don't know how to say names. I'm so
I think it's
bad.
Sume Sasuke. I think it's Sume
Yeah,
Sasuke.
I don't know how to say it, but
She's, I believe, a Stardom girl. She's going to be facing Hiromu Takahashi. Her team. She's picking teams, and Hiromu is also picking a team. It's going to be a 6-man 6-person tag match, and Hiromu has picked so far Mayu Iwatani for his team. Yeah,
Sume.
gonna be great. Sumi Sakai.
Yeah,
That's the one.
I love it. Athena comes out dressed like Two-Faced from
Is that what she
Batman.
was doing? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Sume Sakai. Okay.
Sumi Sakai.
Yes. Lexi Nair does the intro for Athena.
I thought she was
Fantastic.
Ursula. I thought she was a combination of Ursula and Elphaba, if I'm being honest, because I was like, what is that? Because the lime green in
Yeah.
the hair, and then the face paint kind of looked purple. And when you looked closely, there were like little doodly bops on it. So I was like, oh, are those scales? Did Ursula have scales?
No, yeah, it was Two-Faced from the Batman comics.
Oh,
Um
I don't know
but
that version.
oh no, I'll send you it. It was really good. But the code of honor is adhered here. We have the struggle between the both, right? Where they've had this video package go on for so long that Billy Starks and Athena's quest for power. I'm so sorry. It's late, y'all. Thank you for dealing with me. But Billy thinks that she can win it this time. She didn't get the job done last final battle, but she's going to do it this time. But Athena winning the test of strength in the beginning was wow. Okay, that's how we're going to start it. And then we get into some chopping. I want to know your opinion about these chops.
Holy fracking shit. This was a tenderize those titty moments.
It
That's just
was.
yikes.
Yeah, exactly. Yikes. Um, they definitely were there to hurt each other.
Hmm.
Seeing Billy Stark's parents in the crowd, Athena taunting them, it made me very
Hmm.
emotional because she really is just a young girl. And I mean, it made it every bit a more this is real to me, damn it.
Hmm.
There were fight Billy fight chants. Uh,
Hmm.
there were boos and yays. I just feel like this match was everything it needed to be until the ending.
Hmm.
There was a moment where Billy Starks does a beautiful senton from the apron onto the outside, onto Athena, which is
Hmm.
just sick, nasty ish. I mean, Billy, come on.
That's some stardom stuff. I see that as stardom on a regular basis, but seeing
Yeah.
it on a Ring of Honor show, I was like, yo, wait, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
aren't supposed to be doing that.
I think in the match also Billy did so she did this the swanton bomb,
Hmm.
and then she also did an Alabama slam, which like she's so little and like baby to me. So it's like the moment that happened, it's like, how do you have enough momentum to do that to Athena? And Athena's
Hmm.
small, but it felt very much like, what are they feeding these kids?
This is why they tell you eat your vitamins, drink
Exactly.
your milk.
Yeah. It was damn near perfect
Yeah.
with the crowd getting into it, and then the finish ruined it. So I do want to talk about the finish.
Hmm.
It just pisses me off. Sorry. We get to the end and we're messing with the ref here, which just sounds as stupid as it is. Billy had Athena up, but Athena ripped the turnbuckle. There's a Perkin Rana, Poison Rana, whatever. I can't remember.
Hmm. It was a poison Rana by Athena, yeah.
And Athena trips Billy so that she hits the exposed turnbuckle. Athena goes to the top, hits the O face, and that's it at 25-35. I watched the crowd go, oh my God, Billy's going to get it. Oh my God. And that last near fall, it was like, oh my God. But something happened. And I know that Lexi Nair tried to get involved, but Billy blocked it. But how did we end up here?
Mm-hmm.
This is Billy Stark's one of my favorite matches of her of all time. This is probably also one of my favorite Athena matches. But why go through all of this for a whole year? Go through this whole storyline about how Billy doesn't measure up and Athena's abusing her power, and Billy finally getting the strength, and we don't pull the trigger. What a wonderful wrestling night just ended on a deflation. Like, usually I expect that from a WWE show. And yet it took a really great match that would have been a 5-star match to me to just kind of sour my taste. It's not that it was a bad match. It's just, why?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know your thoughts about it.
So I'd actually been hearing about this build quite a bit through social media.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not a regular viewer of Ring of Honor, but I had started hearing stories, seeing clips. It started, I'm a big fan of Athena, but I remember her as Ember Moon and not as this awesome freaking Athena. And I start seeing this
Mm-hmm.
Athena. I'm like, where the frack was this when you were over in WWE?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, great character. Um, but to see the video package of this, to know that this story has been, quite honestly, one of the better, if not the best, long-term story
Mm-hmm.
told in recent memory, besides maybe the timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May angle there, I would say this is the longest and best done story coming out of a North American company for a little bit that I've been made aware of. Why would you bring us to this point? Make us think that you're going to reward the young one who's been working so hard and come through the adversity of being abused by her mentor, being let down by the
Yeah.
person she looked up to the most, and have her be let down again. Like, even to me, as someone who hasn't watched this didn't make a whole lot of sense, especially with how the crowd was. And this crowd was freaking lit for this
Yeah.
match. And they had a great crowd for this whole show. Like,
Yeah.
I loved it. Just the profanities was just a tremendous. This is my crowd. I need to see a show here.
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, this story was disappointing to have the story kind of drop like that. Even being only a person who's kind of come into the story right at the end of it, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt like exactly how you said the ride was great. The ending kind of womp womp.
Yeah.
Bummer.
What a bummer. But we're going to get to Wrestle Dynasty somehow, some way.
Oh, that is
But
going to be
all
a crazy couple of days. Oh my God.
so all in all, tell me your thoughts about the show as a whole.
I actually had a great time. There's obviously going to be things that I wasn't the biggest fan of, like Chris Jericho,
Mm-hmm.
um, or Dustin Rhodes and the Sammy Guevara, but I had a phenomenal time. This was a great way to be like, hey, if you're interested in some new wrestling, check these people out.
Mm.
They sold me. They gave me great women's matches. They gave me great men's matches. They gave me great title matches. They gave me great everything. I got a tag match, a couple of tag matches. I got what I'm referring to as the Glorious Chaos match for the TV title. That was a lot of fun. Like there
Mhm.
was a little bit of everything for everybody to enjoy on this show, which is not something that you can find on every show.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that. I'm excited to be a regular member and viewer of this show.
I'm so excited for you to get into the lore of it. Um, it is really fun, and there are so many nuances along the way. So I thought it was a great show. Just the ending just sucked the air out of me.
I feel that's probably why I'm exhausted
Yeah, I'm
because
exhausted.
it's been the whole thing. Well, I mean, it's 1:30 in the morning here,
Yeah.
but it got me going so positively throughout it. And it was
Mhm.
like it got me to the top of the roller coaster, and then it just went like the ride stopped. And we're
Mhm.
right here. And we're still waiting for that little happy boost to push us over the edge into the rest of the ride.
I'm hoping that if we get a TV deal, that this match will be a rematch and be that main event. Cross your
I'm surprised
fingers,
this isn't.
cross your fingers and cross your toes for that, because that would be 110%
Yes.
exciting. But tell us all where we can find you.
If you're wanting to follow a Melville, you can follow me on the X thing at Collins Melville. You can follow me on everything else Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melville Collins. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, Andre Melville's Wrestling Talk, with 2/3 Andre C, where we talk all things Japanese wrestling. So you got New Japan Stardom, Mari Gold, and soon to come in next year, we're going to be starting Pro Wrestling Noah as well as the local scene. So check that out. You can also find me with this pretty lady over here and Astro Pizarro on Mondays for our show, Women's. Wow, Melville, it's late. Women's Classic Wrestling, where we're reviewing the Mae Young Classic 2017. We are entering the second round matches now. I believe we're on episode 6. That's going to be fun, and that's on Mondays at 8 p.m. Mountain Time for me.
Oh
I
my
believe
gosh.
Eastern. Yeah,
What is mountain time is an hour in front of me, right?
I I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Astrid, I think, is 2 hours ahead of me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're all
Time
we
time
all
isn't
in different
real.
area codes.
Yeah. Time isn't real. Well, if you've gotten to this point and you haven't been following me, underscore queer auntie on all social media platforms, including TikTok. I'm there for as long as the wheels fall off. Blue Sky doesn't like underscores, so follow me over there, just queer auntie, where I try to have all of my wrestling opinions and anything that's going on this channel. I'm here on Thursdays doing our honor ramble, and on Mondays doing women's classic wrestling podcast. My do I have a brain? I don't know. And on Sundays we cry about wrestling over on Fightful Overbooked. That's where you can find me. And this is OLE Podcast. This is your home for something going on every night. If you want to hang out, come hang out in the chat with us. We love for you to be there. Find all of our social medias down there, and be sure to turn on the notification bell here so you know when we are going live, because we have a lot of stuff going on. If you like shows like this, like other shows like Honor Ramble, or there's I think a Marvel Talk one when they're starting to talk about Marvel shows. There's everything. And if there's
Like
something,
cuts.
yeah, exactly. So many things. I don't understand how everyone has the time, but it's a wonderful place to be. So please sure to subscribe. Remember, we love you. be yourself, and make good choices. And happy wrestling. Bye.